it seems you're shattering the part of me, and I can take it. My heart is so hollow, the blood has an echo inside of my veins. My heart is so hollow, your voice is narrow, making the pain. My heart is so hollow, hollow, hollow. My heart is so hollow, hollow, hollow.
Hi, friends.
Hello.
Welcome to the mess that is me. Da, 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 da. Happy Christmas.
I believe your name is Mess.
Yes. Hence me being a mess. It's just my name. I can't help it.
Mestica.
Messica. I have a cat.
Yorlin.
Have a cat butt. You're showing the internet
Pretty
your
sure you can
butthole,
get
Merlin.
flagged for that.
Showing your butthole, Merlin.
Dun, dun, dun.
To the whole free world.
You don't care. At least the 5
Yeah,
people
you should
watching.
charge for that, Merlin. God.
Right.
Yeah.
Get you an
People
OnlyFans account.
pay good money for that.
Get the cat an OnlyFans account. Make some cheddar. Hello, welcome to our Christmas Day hangout. I have had 64 mishaps in the last 20 minutes. If I vanish,
Joyride.
don't be surprised.
Oh!
Hi!
Hello.
Look us back from the dead.
I resurrected myself like Jesus.
I'm sure it was God and not Jesus who resurrected him, but I don't know. It's been a while since I've read the Bible. Or the
I've never read the Bible, so I'm just making shit up. Hello, everyone.
It's on Easter, and it never actually clarifies who resurrected him, just that he resurrected.
To be fair, somebody could have stole his body. Like, they put him in a cavern and closed a rock in front of it, and they went back a few days later, and the rock wasn't moved, but his body was gone. So, like, to be clear.
Yeah, all the things in the Bible that we don't believe, that's the biggest one.
I've never read a Bible in my life, so I just talk out of my ass when I talk about religion because I don't know shit.
I've read it twice. So
I've read it 2
No
to 4
spoilers.
times, but that was like over a decade ago. So
it's definitely been over a decade.
It's
for
like
me as well.
it's there in the subconscious. I vaguely remember things, but do not ask me to tell you where any of it is found.
Every once in a while, I can pull a book out my butt. Like when someone's asking me if something's in the Bible, and I'll be like, yeah, it's in Luke, somewhere in the middle.
Oh my gosh. I was on the phone with my aunt. Well, I was on FaceTime with my dad, and he was like passing the phone around so I could tell everyone happy Merry Christmas or whatever. And one of my aunts was like, make sure you read Psalm 69. And I was like, okay, I will. Knowing like not what that even means.
For the longest time, I thought it was poems, not psalms. I just did not understand.
Psalms?
Well, yeah, because I guess the P is silent, but I'm dyslexic, so and it's like only 2 letters off from poem.
Right.
So
It's a psalm.
I thought that's where the term reading poems came from.
They're psalm reading.
Yes.
As I was going to say, like, we have friends. Hello, friends. Also, this is like a very chillax, like, we're just hanging out, so people may pop in, people may pop out. Like, don't be expecting too much from us today. It is Christmas and/or Boxing Day. So
Boxing Day Norway too.
merlinonly.com. You're not wrong.
Oh, I like that. You don't have to be lonely at merlinonly.com.
Did Merlin
She's just
try
like-
butthole?
Yes.
You don't know.
Very, very prominently.
The whole hole, yes.
Whole thing.
I'm like,
Nothing but the
what are
hole.
you doing?
for
Stop
George.
it. Well, to be fair, they don't know what happened either. They probably were shirking their duties, much like whoever was supposed to be guarding Mary's womb.
A lot
Just
of
saying.
conjecture.
A lot of contempt.
Um,
Roman soldiers
maybe.
ever did to you?
well,
A lot, actually.
depending on which
Burnt the
past
library
life,
of Alexandria. We will never forgive them.
depending on which past life we're talking about, it could be very extensive. Also, I'm wearing my pretty jingly cape
Yes.
that will not stay on for sure.
You look like Santa's prettiest elf.
Last
can
night I
wear
was supposed to pass out Christmas presents because that's my job. Apparently, I not only spend 4 days cooking, but it's also my job to pass out all the presents.
Wow.
Who knew?
So
And I was like, I retire. And they're like, but you can't. I'm like, do you see this beer in my hand right now? I'm retired.
Then you put on the Grinch brooch.
I had a pretty shit Christmas. I ate in my room by myself. Because my family was being very misogynist and homophobic and transphobic and all of the fun phobic things that old people are, especially when you're white in middle class Ohio. You know,
I had a so-so Christmas for very different reasons, but so I'm with you there. Like when I was growing up, I grew up in a really big family, and for us, all holidays were like big family holidays. That was the one time that everybody came together, and we basically spent from morning to night. Everybody left like super late and everything. It was just a really big time for family quality time, especially since a lot of times we straddled between poverty and poor. But it's like it didn't matter about presents or anything like that. We just wanted to hang out and like play games and stuff. So I had been looking forward to that this year, which I should have kind of knew better because just like the past few years and stuff, it's just been a lot lower key. And basically, like my mom's branch came over, so it was like them, my sisters, and us. And I was finishing up the sides that I was supposed to make, and then we did our little smaller Christmas, and we had a good time. And then my aunt's family came over, and with all their kids and stuff. And then it was just kind of everybody ate, we did presents, and then everybody left. And I was just sitting here feeling extremely empty because I'm like, it's like, where did Christmas go? And I actually took it really, really hard, and I didn't expect that. But then I took a nap, and then I told my sister that, and she's like, I thought it was really weird too. And I'm like, that makes me feel better that it wasn't just me. So
mine got immensely better after like the people who only come around on holidays left, because those are the people that I don't want it. Like specifically, I asked very early, like everybody showed up like an hour and a half early, so I was still cooking. And my house, the kitchen, living room, dining room is all one big room. So like everybody's standing in my way. Nobody will get the fuck out of my way while I'm trying to finish cooking, which just pisses me off. And they started talking about the pandemic, and they're all anti-maskers and anti-vaxxers. And I was like, listen, let's have one Christmas without this conversation because I cannot handle it right now. Like, I'm too fucking stressed. You're all in my way. I will not have this conversation in my house right now. So that seemed to be okay. Then they went on some kind of transphobic tirade as soon as I sat down to eat. And I was like, listen, this is going to be on the same board as the other one. We're not having it. Like, I'm not going to sit here and listen to this. And they just continued talking. So I picked up my plate. I went to the fridge. I got a beer, which I don't drink, people. For those of you who don't know, I'm not a drinker. Grabbed a beer, went to my office, ate my dinner, walked back out to throw my plate away. And they were back on the pandemic topic. So I went out and sat on the porch by myself and drank my beer and played games on my phone with my dogs for the remainder of the evening until all of those people left. So it was a great time.
I don't know what it is about this holiday that's weird. Like today was all right, but I had a very weird, like a weird as fuck Christmas Eve. I went to my best friend from high school and college came down to visit her parents, and then we went to hang out. So we went to the city, to like Pond City Market, and like her and her boyfriend weren't wearing masks, and she was like, "Oh, we're not anti-maskers, but just like no one in our town wears masks, so like we just forgot." But it was like very awkward because I was feeling judged being with these people who weren't wearing masks when everyone else had masks, and then I got home and my freaking uncle broke like 3 of his ribs and concussed himself. So this
Is he
holiday is just
doing?
weird as fuck.
Is he doing okay now? I mean, obviously still broken, but
Yeah, he's doing better now. They moved him out of the ICU and now he's in like a regular room. And I think he should be home tomorrow.
well, that's
That's
good at
good.
least.
I mean, ribs suck because I can't really do anything other than just like tell you not to move. But
Yeah.
you know, Stephanie's having dinner. I just had dinner, or otherwise I would say I'm jealous.
I also ate pre-stream, so
But I have hot chocolate, and this is my second one today. So, as I told Sam pre-stream, I've had 2 naps today. I'm on my second hot chocolate, and I watched the first 2 episodes of season 2 of The Witcher. It's like I'm having a great Christmas day. Like Christmas Eve fucking sucked, but Christmas Day has been great so far. Would you like some hot chocolate? No.
For your butt?
Okay.
I will say
No, I was offering her face.
I just see the tail, so I can't tell.
That's fair. She's leaving me now because she can't hear you guys. So she's like, no one's paying attention to me.
I'm out.
Paying attention, Merlin. We love you.
I will say that my family knows how to gift for me. My grandparents got me this hot cocoa set that's just like 9 little tiny hot cocoa packets of different flavors for me to try. And my parents and my sister put together this giant ass package of various chocolates. There's some Belgium chocolates in there, some Brazilian chocolate, some that I know that I am really going to enjoy. And it's just, I think this is the 2nd or 3rd year in a row I've just received a large packet of a variety of chocolates, and I'm like, this is all I ever need again. Just continue to do this because I love trying new chocolates. I actually last night I tried one of the hot cocos, and I recorded pieces of it because I'm going to attempt to make little TikToks for each of the cocos.
Oh, that's so cute.
Attempt being the key word.
I'm not the best of TikTokers. I don't know what I'm doing on mine, but it's a good time sometimes. So.
Oh my gosh. Speaking of hot chocolate, though, my sister made hot chocolate last night, and instead of following the recipe, she guesstimated the whole time. And it just took longer than it should have. And we had to argue about whether or not she knew the recipe. She said, a real chef doesn't use a recipe. And I'm just like, girl, you're not a chef. She's like, Gordon Ramsay doesn't use a recipe. I'm like, you're not Gordon Ramsay. Read the fucking Hershey's recipe, please.
I'm pretty sure he doesn't because he has it memorized.
Right. I was like, he had to practice to get to that point.
Chefs don't use recipes because they're inside their head.
Yeah, it's like they do use the recipes. They just don't use a book.
That was the whole thing.
Got writer-themed presents for Christmas. My family knows me so well, and this candle smells really good. Excellent.
Sure.
Emily fell and hurt her hand.
No, everybody getting hurt.
I'll feel better soon.
But also has the laughing, sweating emoji. So I feel like it's probably not quite that bad.
I hope so.
But also her hand, but is building a Beauty and the Beast castle out of Lego, and it has a beast of an instruction manual.
Is it one of the ones?
Seen none of this on TikTok, Emily. Why are you holding back?
Or Instagram?
Or Instagram, right?
Or Instagram.
But also, I need Emily's TikTok. Drop your.
Does Emily have a
Username.
TikTok?
I don't think so. I just
Okay.
misspelled. What is missaid? I meant
Misspoke?
misspoke. That's the word.
Yeah. But does the Lego manual come with a little thing you can scan. My son is obsessed with the Lego app that gives you the instruction book on your phone. So you could just like swipe through the pages, and then he never loses the instruction manual.
So smart. Keeping up with the times, Lego.
Hey, Lexi.
Hey,
Merry
Lexi.
Christmas. Happy non-denominational Jesus' birthday. Oh, could never have a TikTok.
But
I mean,
why not? Because you don't want to, or just because? Because my TikTok started off as like, I just wanted to do music challenges and have somewhere to rant about chronic illness. That was the birth of my TikTok. And it is mostly what is on my TikTok. Except for like when Chris and I went on our anniversary trip and we took the little Link with us, and then I would record and take photos of Link's adventures to send to my kids, and I eventually compiled them into a two-part TikTok.
I have a TikTok. I've never posted anything on it. And the only people I follow on TikTok are my nieces and nephews. Like, it's really just me, like, keeping an eye on them is really all it's for.
I mean, a fair use of TikTok.
And I think I also follow Kristen, a fellow friend of ours, on Authortube, because she doesn't have an Instagram, but she does have a TikTok, so I follow her. But other than that,
Kristen Leatherman?
Yeah.
She totally has an Instagram, right? Or did she delete it?
She doesn't post on it ever. At least not that I've noticed. But she was fairly active on TikTok, but to be fair, I don't ever hardly ever open it. So
I started, like, I just got my TikTok account so that I could stalk people that I thought were funny, and then I found out several of them were authors, and I was like, excuse? What do you mean you have books coming out? I enjoy your humor. Maybe I'll enjoy your writing.
It only hurts when she moves her fingers, which is like the main function of a hand, but that's fine. Is somebody's house being invaded by elves?
Yes.
It's like, could be mine, could be somebody else's.
No, my uncle that I spoke about earlier has 7 kids, so 6 of them are upstairs.
That's fair.
That's having the time of their lives, but they're loud.
That's fine. I was tuning it out so hard, I wasn't actually sure if it was yours or mine, and then I'm like, I shouldn't hear mine in my headphones.
I'm gonna have another charger so that hopefully.
If you can justify making YouTube videos, I feel like you can justify making TikToks. This is just fair.
That's fair, Lexi. It's totally fair.
I mean, also fair.
True. I mean, you do better than Stig, though, so. Stig doesn't make YouTube videos.
Excuse me, I have like at least 20 videos on my channel. Lexi has 1.
Are any of your videos actual videos, or are they all live streams?
Is not a live stream a video?
No, it's a live stream.
Yeah, but it's a video.
No, it's a live stream. It's a different thing.
It's a video of a live stream.
No.
That's just a fact, because I can convert this shit to MP4, and that's a video. So.
Oh my god, that's the standard.
Oh God, I love you.
But okay, I wonder if this helps.
Yes.
You only have 18 videos on your channel.
Oh, might be. How many does Lexi have?
I don't know.
On
I
which
just
channel?
wanted to go see how many of them I've actually been able to see. And in my counting, I was like, wait a sec.
I'm curious how many videos I have on my channel, but that's a harder answer to find.
I've seen over half of them, which is better than I thought, so I'm pretty happy with that.
Isn't there like a counter for your videos so you can see how many you have on your channel?
I don't know. Is there?
I don't know. You're the YouTube star here.
Yeah.
Actually, if you when I search Stig Deerdle and his channel pops up, it gives subscribers and the number of videos.
Ooh.
So you don't even have to go to the channel. You just have to look up their channel.
18 videos, yeah. Like says 1.
I think she has a second channel that's like for travel.
That doesn't count.
Okay.
Is it a video on
making the
YouTube?
rules.
Then it counts.
There's 604 videos, Jess.
Jesus Christ.
Oh my gosh.
How many does
I
Grape
just found
have?
it the second you said it. I'm like, okay then.
147 Grape.
I have 159. How many of those are videos? How many of those are lives? I don't know.
I have 18 and 100% lives.
Man, that's a lot. That's a lot,
Is what
Jessica.
a lot.
That's a lot.
Well, you also do like so many videos a week, and then like what's the opposite of January? December. Every December, you make video every day. So
Does she though? Because like this is day 25, but there is no day 20 through 24.
well, you make the videos, you just don't upload them.
We're not saying you post them consecutively, but they do get made.
There's day 19, and then I don't even know if it's in order because some of them are way out of order. It's not. But there's
day
like
17 is not in the right spot.
There's like day 19 and then nothing, and then day 25, which is us right now. Dang.
Also, thank you, Jennifer, for your unvouchering support.
I also agree with Stig. I was just giving him a hard time because I can. To be fair. That's how I live my life.
I don't actually
think
know.
This is a fair assertion.
Is it?
Yes, I think it's a fair. You can't judge it as a thing until you have experienced the thing.
Stephanie's almost at 200.
Nice.
198. I mean, you know, in all fairness, I have also been here for 5 years, so like, I don't expect you guys to live up to my standards.
No,
we could never, Jod. We could never.
I mean, so in comparison, because as I do the comparison thing of always, because the only person that I know that started YouTube at the same time as me is Kate. She has 599 videos, so I guess I'm on par. Living the dream.
Oh god, I would kill to be that consistent with videos.
All you have to do is to upload. Grape.
I was consistent with videos. Tear go down my cheek.
I was.
You know what?
Here.
You can always try again.
I am going to try again. I've already started scripting again.
Don't mess with Jod. If you mess with Jod, you get the rod.
That's an automatic no. Automatic no, Stig.
But Jess, spare the rod, spoil the child. Don't you know?
Oh God.
Well, it was the only thing that rhymed with Jod.
I appreciate and approve of it. So,
thank you, Sam.
Do you know what he wanted to call Christmas as Jodmas? Do you know what he wanted to call it?
Jodmas?
He'll tell you.
I mean, I don't want to call it. It is actually named Jismas.
No, it's not.
It is
100% not.
Look, that
if there's
reminds
a Jibble,
me.
there's a Jismas. Then be the rules. Sorry, I don't make them.
That reminds me of Jesus Ween, and I cannot.
Jesus Ween, okay.
Yeah, there was a
That's
thing.
That's sacrilegious. Okay.
And
there
isn't.
So what it was around at the beginning of October, there was this thing going around that was like they're like, hey, so because people don't want to celebrate Halloween because of the connotations and connection to paganism and a bunch of other things, they're like, they wanted a religious friendly candy kid holiday, even though there's already something like that. I just can't remember what it's called. And so
Easter?
they were
Halloween
like,
Day is All Saints Day,
yeah,
Oh.
All Saints Day.
which is November 1st.
So, but they wanted it on the same day as Halloween because
Yeah.
that's how it's got to be, I guess. But yeah, so there was a tiny push to have Jesusween be a thing. They even like had bumper stickers and stuff. And you know, there had to at least have been one person in this group that there wasn't even one that was like, maybe not have a holiday called Jesusween where we give candy out to kids.
What's wrong with Jesus Ween?
Sounds
Well, 'cause
predatory.
Okay, so ween is a
sometimes a word
cutesy
for a
word for penis, basically.
I thought it was wiener.
Wiener,
Yeah.
weenus, weenie, ween. It's
Ah,
any
peen,
version.
ween, any
Yeah.
version of.
Yeah,
it's the ween of many colors.
Americans will do anything to avoid saying penis.
sadly,
'Cause
many.
Kinda
you
like
say
Jesus
I
elbow.
Ween,
won't. I refuse to call it anything other than a penis, but that means I'm not gonna. That doesn't mean I'm gonna ignore when I hear things like Jesusween. No, I'm not. You can look it up. There were news articles on it.
My
It was
favorite
a
part is
thing.
that they don't realize that Halloween is already a Christianization of a pagan holiday. So, like,
Yeah,
you're Christianizing a Christianized version of a
it
holiday.
wasn't.
But you
It
do you,
wasn't
boo.
watered down enough. It
You do
needed to be
you.
more watered.
God, Lexi. I love
I
it.
prefer Winkle Dinker. I just say penis.
Anything but manhood.
Not me. I'm always saying Jack Hansen.
And it kind of reminds me of like when you read romance and it says trove instead of like whatever. And I don't really vibe with trove.
I
Pleasure
am
trove.
proud. I am proud of the
Hi,
fact.
Lindsay. You came in at a great time.
Hi, Lindsay. There is a huge movement, especially amongst teachers right now, to just be like, just use the anatomical correct vocabulary because
Mhm.
y'all using other words is causing issues. So there's a big push for it.
My favorite is like they'll use for female anatomy, they'll call it a bunny or a kitten or a monkey. And
Or
I'm
a
like,
person.
those are animals, so can we not?
I've never heard anyone call it monkey.
That one is new to me as well.
Maybe it's an Ohioan thing.
That is
think
specifically what my cousin wanted her daughter to call it. And I'm like, no.
See,
No.
Immediately no.
for the most part in my family, they didn't really use many of the cutesy words for things. It was your crotch, your genitals. Occasionally, if they were trying to be funny, that's really the only time I heard those words growing up. Is if people were just attempting to be ridiculous or funny, and then I heard quite a few of them. But other than that,
Yeah. It just why?
I mean, they didn't use the atomically correct terms, but the words
The more-
were what they were. So
There's
I'm
much
sorry,
more
that's-
vulgar words, but also like
That just
okay.
reminded me of the fact that my grandma would call it a cooter.
yes, that one too.
That one too. Which is hilarious.
It really is.
I do agree that like I understand that like there are like really popular TikTokers and people who do like IG stories, and they've had to come up with like things to say because otherwise they get kicked.
Mhm.
Their videos get banned or whatever. So there's one lady that I watch that calls it a downstairs kitty cat, which is hilarious. The downstairs kitty cat. And then
What's the upstairs kitty cat?
the actual cat, I suppose. I don't know. And then there's another one that calls it the kitty meow meow. I'm like, living for that. All right.
I've seen that one.
Like, you have to get like creative because you can't say it on the internet. So it's kind of like, there are other things that you can't say on
Most
the
of the
internet.
ones I follow just bleep it out and put a picture of a cat over the word or a pickle
That
or an
too.
eggplant.
I've seen that. Eggplants and cat pictures, dog
Like
pictures.
when they use like maybe an at or like exclamation points or like symbols or whatever instead of
Yeah.
actual letters.
Yeah.
Anything
I
to
think
get
that's
around
funny.
the censorship. I do love pickles.
I do love pickles.
I had pickles with dinner last night.
We had sheep's rib and mashed rhubarb and what's that thing? Potatoes.
I want sheep's rib.
That's the
I don't know
traditional
about
Norwegian
the
Christmas
rhubarb.
dinner.
I need sheeps.
I made a ham, mashed potatoes and gravy, macaroni and cheese,
Oh, that sounds so good, Jess.
baked beans. Those were
Oh,
weird.
I'm stuffed for baked beans though.
I put bacon and hamburger in it as well, so it's delicious. I also made stuffed peppers, cheese ball, 4 different kinds of cookies,
Like, you can just come visit
and
me for Christmas.
crescent
We'll have a
rolls with like a
feast.
sausage cream cheese dip. Like literally,
Mm.
when I say I spent 4 days cooking, I literally
No,
spent
I
4 days
believe
cooking.
you.
So
Did
not
that
I just
hyperbole.
want it.
right, and so
And I'll help you cook.
right, my aunt who normally makes like most of the other stuff, like we usually divvy half and half, and she made like 3 things, and she's like, "Well, I'm making Christmas dinner on Christmas Day again," and I'm like, "But why?" She's like, "Well, we're having Christmas dinner at my house with just my kids," and I'm like, "You live next door,
Okay, bitch.
and like you do you just go right ahead." She came earlier at like 2:00 and was like, "If you're hungry, we're having dinner." I'm like, "No, I'm good. I've got like 6,000 leftovers from yesterday because I cooked for 4 days." Peace.
Yeah, we helped make the big dinner last night. My family, it's a potluck-ish thing, so they brought some stuff, and then today we made another dinner. So like yesterday I made a turkey, today I made a ham, and then I made baked beans yesterday and today because they all ate all my baked beans yesterday. And we also had
love baked
macaroni and
beans.
oh, they're so good. And I made macaroni and cheese today and some stuffing because all the stuffing got eaten yesterday too. That's the thing I do on the 25th. Any of the leftovers that are gone from the 24th, I have to remake them. Because we have our smaller one with just me, Chris, and the kids on the morning of the 24th. 5th, whatever today is.
Whatever day today is.
26th.
Today.
No sheep's head. I
I
mean,
do love sheep's head.
I think
But the big
next
controversy
year,
last night was that we had chocolate pudding for dessert and not our usual creamed rice, which kind of upset me. But
Wow. Oh my gosh.
I know I
creamed
was
rice.
creamed rice,
What the
I
fuck
want
is
to
that?
try it.
Is
So
that
like-
rice pudding?
rice pudding and cream, and just 50-50 and mix it together, and then you have strawberry sauce on top.
I want to try it. It sounds
Cold,
good.
granted.
It sounds good. I like rice pudding.
I mean, I'll have it warm or cold. I'm up for any. This is why my family buys me samplers for Christmas.
I've never even had rice pudding, so I have no context for
It's
this.
like
It
rice
tastes
porridge. Have you
fine,
ever had
but
that?
it's like a really weird texture.
Oh,
I had to make
would
it
like-
once for a project in high school.
I would like to point out that Lexi's making minestrone because she doesn't have the energy to do tamales or pozole, which is sad, but I get it.
I would murder for a tamale right now. We had American tacos tonight in our shells.
Hey, that's tasty.
I
By
think
the way,
next
Jess,
year,
Fox would
Yeah.
like to know where his cornbread is.
I did not make any cornbread, but you legit can just drive right across the country line and
He
come
can't
hang out in
actually.
Ohio.
He's on the other half of Canada.
Oh, fudge. Sorry. Now, if you were like just north, like you could just drive a few hours. I would make you cornbread.
Do you make
Yeah, I
the
keep
sweet
telling him the
cornbread,
same
or do
thing.
you make the like savory cornbread with like
Which-
jalapenos or cheese or shit?
It depends on who I'm feeding and what their preference is, but I can make all the cornbread. Any kind of cornbread you want, I know how to make it.
I love sweet cornbread. My family calls my
That's
cornbread
my
corn cake
favorite.
because I put so much sugar in it.
I like to make my favorite cornbread, and that's the one I make the most often, is honey cornbread. So it's like cornbread with honey baked into it, and then after it comes out while it's still hot, I drizzle honey on the top so that it soaks into the top.
Why
That's
have
my
I not
favorite
had
one.
this?
Why? Because it's not a recipe. I was just like, how would cornbread taste with honey? And I liked it, so now it's what I do.
Putting that on the list of things to do. I think I'm gonna like try to. I mean, I make the majority of the food, so I can do whatever I want. Next holiday, I'm gonna start theming them off of regions, countries, or regions. So like Easter could be like Tex-Mex, and just have tacos, and like some kind of like like a 7-layered bean dip or whatever.
I like where this is going.
I think I'm gonna start theming. I was like, I want to have a really fancy Christmas, like where we all sit down at the table, like with our fancy plates, not like our throwaway paper plates, and like be fancy. And Mom was like, yeah, you're gonna have to get a new family for that. I'm like, no shit.
We do like suit and everything for Christmas dinner.
We do pajamas because like this. Well, at least we used to. Now I'm the only one who shows up in pajamas, and everyone else dresses nice. And I'm like, I'm not changing. So
Yesterday I wore pajama pants that were plaid, so like a little Christmassy,
It's
wintry,
classic pajamas. Okay.
and a Halloween t-shirt.
Mixing your
beer.
holidays.
Do you mean
wore-
Jesus Sween?
Yeah,
I wore
Jesus-themed.
these, which you can't tell, but the kitty has Christmas lights
Christmas
on it.
baubles.
Yes.
That's fair. We're making Regina hungry and tamales.
Tamales. Chris can make tamales from scratch, but then he is always exhausted afterwards. But I'm always appreciative. They're so
I don't know
tasty.
what champarudo is, but it
I
sounds
don't
delicious.
know what it is either, but it sounds delicious.
Where is my husband to answer my questions about Spanish
In the
sounding
chat.
food?
He's in the chat.
What is champuro?
Made sushi for Christmas. I mean,
Ugh, I want sushi.
yeah, it was
now.
107. I was like,
As
girl.
long as I don't believe in holiday food, I just refuse. I'm like, there are
I can't believe. Say, I don't believe in hot weather.
No, oh look. The reason is because it's like if I want a pumpkin pie, I'm not fucking waiting until Thanksgiving. I'm gonna just make a pumpkin pie. I'll make a pumpkin pie in February, March, June. I don't care. I can have access to the pumpkin filling year round. I'm gonna make a pumpkin pie year round. I don't care. So I don't really believe that holidays have a specific that you can only eat this kind of food at a specific time, with the exception to seasonal crops. But even then, if I want to pay a lot, I can still get the crops. So we can kill a turkey year round. That's fine. They sell turkey breasts year round.
Oh,
We live in Tennessee. There's turkey farms.
I kind of like the
I'll eat
idea of
baby
having like
turkey.
certain foods for certain holidays, because then, kind of when the holiday rolls around, I'm ready for it.
Oh, see, what I was going to finish with before my husband came out here and started interrogating me about seasonal birds was, but I do like the idea of like having certain meal staples. Like I made a turkey, but my aunt brought a ham. And so for me, like Christmas ham is very much a thing. That's very homey. It's very, it is what it is. Mixing my baked beans with mashed potato and corn and putting it on top of a slice of turkey, that's very Thanksgiving to me. So it's like, I understand having these like emotional or nostalgic feelings with certain foods and holidays. I just, sometimes when people are like, oh, well, I only had this for the holiday. I'm like, it doesn't matter. As long as you enjoyed the food, as long as you had a good time, it doesn't matter what you eat for what holiday. That was the point I was trying to get when my husband came in here to interrogate me about turkeys.
That sounds delicious.
It looks delicious. I googled it.
I mean, I'm having hot chocolate right now, but
I'm
That's
having
just
creamed
like-
rice, or I was
Red-
having creamed rice.
I'm reading a recipe.
I was having
drink-
vodka.
it's a regular white girl hot chocolate though, so it's not so
Like a
great.
Sprite.
I got a lot of grown-up gifts this year, which I was happy about. So I got like a wok pan and like casseroles and like a pasta casserole, and I was like, yes.
I
This
love
is-
that.
I would
My sister got
100% would make turkey for Christmas.
yes.
100% lasagna for Christmas, not turkey. Did I say turkey? What did I mean?
You
We
did say
used
turkey.
to
I'm
when
drunk.
my-
It's fine.
when my uncle and aunt lived in Tennessee. They're in Georgia now, but when they lived here, my aunt would make a homemade lasagna from scratch every year for Christmas.
Speaking of scratch,
Emily went on a journey, her own little Christmas adventure.
I'm telling you guys, living the dream over here. I mean,
Yeah, and then like $150 worth of gift cards for this electronic shops I shop at. So
Oh, that's nice.
My sister got a chocolate melter for Christmas, and then she looks at me and she's like, "So where in your kitchen am I putting it?" And I'm like, we'll find a spot." Because that's what my sister does. She gets like specialty pans and pots for cooking projects and then leaves them at my house.
oh, the other slight as we're talking about gifts. No one told me that the adults were having a gift exchange,
Oh,
like doing like a white elephant, but not gag gifts, but just like, you bring a wrapped gift between like, $20 and $30 and do like a random drawing thing. And I'm like, so you guys planned a gift exchange at my house for a holiday and no one told me. Cool, thank you. Appreciate
Wow.
that.
That
You
feels
were the
disrespectful.
gift.
I know. I'm telling you guys, it was a great day.
I'm telling you, I will just steal you for Christmas.
I want to.
I mean, I
Sam
know
has
it's
a lot
not
of adopted
actu-
children.
I
so-
know it's not actually feasible because you like your mom, and I assume she can come too. Actually, just bring her.
I just want to run away. I'm just gonna. I'm gonna retire the next holiday. I'm just gonna retire and be like, I'm not making any food. I'm not
Just-
doing anything. I'm just
Just put
showing
your
up like the
mom
rest
in the
of you
car and be like, "Mom, we're going somewhere for Christmas. Don't tell her where. It's fine. She'll get along with my grandma probably."
do. Listen, I told my mom, I was like, we need to start rotating houses for holidays because I do
That's what we do.
Christmas, Thanksgiving, and Easter. Like we only do 3 holidays in our family, and we do all of them here. So I do all of the holidays, and I'm like, we need to like rotate these bitches. Somebody else needs to be in charge.
This is actually the first time we did Christmas at my house. Normally, we do it at my mom's or my aunt's. So, which is probably why everybody left.
I mean, my cousins. I have a couple of cousins that are in my age bracket, and they both brought things with them. Like they brought desserts. My cousin Krista brought like some different things that her and mom eat that I don't eat, so I don't really like different like cold salads, like pasta salad, pea salad, things that I don't eat, so I don't really know how to make them taste good. So like she'll make stuff like that, but I don't like. I am a really strange person, and I really like to cook for people, and I like to like make a house pretty and make things happy, and like
Same.
I'm a homemaker deep down inside my black little heart, but I just want people to appreciate it, and they don't. And so but like after the people that I don't like left last night, as I said, like when my cousins were the only ones left here with their kids, we had like a good time later on in the evening.
Yeah.
So just like hanging out and talking and having fun. But those are the people that I see all the time anyway. So like
Yeah, but
those are the people
sometimes
that
it's
like
different.
live around here on the farm. So it was a
You should
good
go
time,
on
but
strike.
I'm going to. I did last night. Like you should have seen the stares I got when I was like, Santa Claus quit. She's over here. She's under a blanket. She's drinking a beer. Y'all have your own time. And they were just like, really? And I was like, yeah, really, I'm done.
Like,
Like,
y'all
there's
didn't
no
even
reason to go
include
there?
me in the gift exchange. You want me to hand out gifts?
Right.
Mm-mm.
You want like no, and my cousin was like, I think she's really done. I'm like, yeah, I'm really done. Thank you.
Like, I don't think
Have a
she's
nice day.
kidding. You're like,
Yeah.
honey, I
my-
sent you a recipe for the champurrado. I'm probably saying that wrong, but I want some.
But I want some. Go make it. Quick.
No.
No, not right now. There's some seasonings that I'm pretty sure we don't have in the pantry. As a count, there's at least one that I've never seen that word in my life. So we'll have to go to the store to get that.
I do have some jerks related to me. It's a great time. I'm gonna retire. I won't retire, but I'm going to retire. This is why, like, I just want to buy like a little country. I want to be born rich instead of beautiful in my next life. First off, because I don't have money for these things, but I just want to like buy a little house in the woods, like a little cottage, and be happy and just do whatever and have friends who live in a proximity to me that is appropriate for things.
I mean, that's fair.
I mean, I have a best friend and she's great and wonderful and lovely and I love her, but this is her first year with her baby. So like I've taken like, and they tried for a really long time to have a baby. So I've just like kind of stepped back to let them have like their family time. Normally I'm like, love me because I need attention and I need to be loved. But they have a small child who needs love and attention. So, you know, step back a little bit. I'm a needy bitch. It's fine.
I'm just looking at how far away Ohio is from where I live. I don't know where you are in Ohio, but I now know I'm roughly 7 hours away from Ohio in general.
Add about an hour and a half. Because I'm about an hour from like bottom middle.
Well, whenever you just Google a state, it puts you in the middle of the state.
Well, even better. Take an hour off.
So are you an hour, like from Columbus, an hour up or an hour down?
Hour down.
Okay. So yeah, about 6 hours away.
I'm running away. I am a self-aware needy bitch. I love that about me.
Yes.
Regina's out here living my dream.
We're jealous.
Jealous. It's fine.
Envious.
Anybody want to talk about anything that's like uplifting?
I
and
want to go get the
happy?
chocolate from my closet, but there's a lot of chocolate. And I'm like, I don't know which one to grab. And so I would like be in my closet for 5-10 minutes, just having left y'all. But it's always on my mind right now.
You should have Chris grab you a chocolate and then it's a surprise.
No, I don't want to be surprised. I want to decide which one I want to eat.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Fox said that cornbread is so far away, but still closer than yours. Rude.
I mean, it's not wrong. It's not wrong.
So how are you enjoying The Witcher so far, Jess?
I really liked it. I was gonna have to go back and watch the first season because I felt like I needed to rewatch it because I haven't. I just watched it the one time, but they have like a season 1 recap in chronological order on Netflix, so I watched that instead.
They did, so that was really nifty for me because
Yeah.
I did not remember anything from season 1.
I mean, I remember a lot of it, and I had a really good time. I watched it way after everyone else did, like a year after everyone else did. So, to be
still
fair, it
haven't
was like
watched
way
it.
clear in my mind. It's so good.
So when I watched season 1, I was informed it's like, well, a lot of people are really confused by this one thing. And I was like, okay. And so it was attempted to be explained to me. And the explanation really confused me. So when I was watching it, I was very confused. But then I just like stopped and I'm like, there's parallel timelines going on here, right? One's the past, one's the present. And Chris was like, yeah. And I'm like, I didn't need to be told that. It's actually pretty easy to follow. So I was very upset that I had been preemptively confused about this thing that would not have actually confused me. I have a gremlin behind me.
Sam was like, am I better than everyone else?
No, I think I just read and watch a lot of media that does parallel timelines.
I was not told like anything specific other than if I felt like I was confused to keep watching, then it would start to make sense. By people, because like I said,
that
I
would've been
watched it like
fine.
a long time after everyone else, and so
Well,
the
it's
people
like
who were like, "You need to watch it," was like, "It'll be confusing, but it'll make sense as you go on." And I'm like, "Cool."
see, I was like, okay, so that one chick is the mom of the other one, and then I was told no, that's not what was going on, and I was like, it's not then what? So it's in an attempt to keep me from getting confused. You're a gremlin. Well, then why are you gremlining?
I'm not gremlin.
Then what are you doing? That's what gremlins do.
I will never forget
Okay.
Henry Cavill, sadly.
Hey,
No,
hey, do me a
why
favor.
is it
I wish I
when
could.
they
Come here.
always when they
me a
like
favor.
advertise that show, it's
There-
just like ass shots of him walking
Right.
away? What is
There
that
a
about?
lot of chocolate.
They know who they're
in my
catering to, which is
closet.
thirsty
Can you
women and
just
gay
bring
men.
me all of it?
I mean, you're not wrong,
Very
but
careful,
also
'cause some of it's open. Okay, so just
why?
bring me all the chocolate.
But also
Okay.
on
Go
on Henry Cavill, he's only hot in characters. Like Henry Cavill as Henry Cavill is just, it just looks like a lad, and I'm like, I don't know.
Listen, I think he's a very attractive man, like just on the regular, but like I'm not like gonna beat anybody down for him, like, and that's the same with everybody, like all men who are famous or attractive and not famous. I mean, like, I don't understand people
saw-
that call down all of their like every person they've ever known, and like if they get a girlfriend or a boyfriend or whatever, and people just like cry forever because they're like, "No, I never have a chance." And I'm like, "You didn't have a chance before.
My room.
Go ahead."
I
Like,
don't know. I feel that a little bit because when Chris Evans eventually gets married, I will shed a tear, a singular tear, but like it will be impactful.
Parasocial relationships are hella strong. What's important is being aware of your parasocial relationship so it doesn't get unhealthy. So I think that's
I'm
fine.
not saying that one day when Tom Hiddleston gets married that I'm not going to be like, "Oh, my heart," but like I know that like this never going to happen. Like I'll never meet him in person.
Some people are not self-aware enough to know the difference between a parasocial relationship and a real relationship. So like they genuinely feel these things and believe these things. But it's wild. Yes, all the chocolate. That's what I wanted.
I'm not disagreeing with you,
Is this all
but
of
at
it?
the same time, when Shawn Mendes and Camila Cabello broke up, I was like, so there is a chance? That's all I have to say.
Was
Also,
there any more
Regina,
things
I'm
for
sorry I
everything?
missed your comment, and I'm so happy for you that when you woke up this morning that he was alive.
No, I think
And
there's
that's
more.
very sweet.
I'm very glad.
It's okay.
That's a
Roxy's
very,
gonna help you
very
find
old
it.
pup, and give him all the snuggles from us.
Our cat had a stroke when he was like a year or two old, and I
no.
just went on Google and I
Yeah,
found
this
this
is all my new
veterinarian
chocolate.
brochure with like cat physical therapy that I did to him. So
Oh. Did he make it?
he made it. He had another
Oh,
stroke,
okay.
and he still made it. Still going strong.
That's the gayest thing I ever heard, Stig.
But that's so cute.
But I
I
love
wasn't
you.
going to give up
There
on my
is at
cat.
least 2
love
more
that.
chocolates.
I'm not. I mean, I'm not going to give up on
Okay,
my
just
cat
keep-
either. But I don't know that I would
just
be smart enough to like
Go
Google.
ahead. Go
like,
look. Because you're stepping
Smart
on the
man
charger
game, I
and it's
don't have
being
that.
weird.
Well, it's because I work, with
If there's
stroke
another one of
patients in real
these,
life.
and then there's a small bag.
True. Fair.
So it's like I knew that like physical therapy is like the best thing to do. So I went online and I did physical therapy for 6 months, and he made it.
Oh, that's
That
so
is-
adorable.
But it's like a smart man's game. I don't have that intelligence.
But yeah, it was like leaning to one side. He tried to jump up to a chair and just completely misses it, fell to the ground. It was a rough time, but he's fine now.
George
I thought he
Harrison.
was going to pull his shirt off, and I was like,
No, he's just doing that.
he's just doing that, whatever that is.
Okay, there's at least 2 more chocolates. Go.
Oh no, where did his head go?
It's back.
He
Don't
just-
worry.
He likes to do this so that he can watch himself on the replay later.
It's fair.
Hey, you didn't get the rest of my chocolates. Go help your sister.
I don't know where.
You haven't even looked.
I had to Google him, Regina. I was like, George Harris. I don't know who that is.
Grape is a baby.
You didn't know who George Harrison was?
I don't. I still don't.
That is.
She's like, I do not know this man.
Sorry to this man.
It's fine. It's fine. Just
Is he still alive?
No,
No.
he has not been alive since 2001.
Okay. I
I'm
think
like-
he's the one I always forget.
Well,
Okay,
they
there's
could-
at least 3 more chocolates. Go.
Get out.
I got so many.
Get out. Go get more chocolate.
How do I count them? Because I look at them and I'm like, I had 2 of those and I had 2 of those, which means I know there's at least 2 more. And then the little baggie still isn't here.
Oh, he
It's
was
in
a
the closet.
Beatle. Okay.
Is Paul McCartney
I knew
dead?
there was. I knew. No, he's still alive. I know that one.
Oh my God, Regina! I was about to say.
Okay.
I'm like, how did I miss that?
I knew there was a Beatle named George. I just didn't know his last name.
Yes. Motherhood is just having them bring me all my chocolates. And
Yeah.
well, I mean, you can go help them look for my chocolates,
Nice,
but they're the
Anjana.
ones who
That is
agreed,
also
so now
cute,
they're
Pupper.
committed.
Very cute pupper.
And they keep
Oh.
going, I don't know where they are. And I'm like, they're all in the chocolate. Or I mean, they're all in the closet. Yes, Michael does have all the energy. I don't, Fox.
It's okay, Regina. I just had a moment. I was like, wow, did I miss that? Did I forget it?
I forget all the time that people are dead, and like someone will tell me, and I'll be shocked, and they're like, "Dude, it's been a decade," and I'm like, "Really? Oh, I probably already knew that then." Okay, we're cool.
Awesome, awesome. You found there's still
I was
one
surprised,
more.
but I probably didn't have a reason to be surprised.
Are you doing good? Doing good with the chocolate search. No,
There is
there's
no
still one
chocolate, is
more.
there, Sam?
There's one more of these. There's one more of these. They've done a very good job finding it so far. I believe in them. Little baby feet can't handle it. Yeah, they will each be able to pick one chocolate. But however, they would do it and even if I didn't. No, Fox, I'm not making them put it all back.
That would be great, actually. Make them put it all back and don't let them have any.
Baby, can you bring me my chocolate
Oh,
bag
that'd be cool.
so that I can organize my chocolate?
Wow. You know, you have a lot of chocolate when you have a bag you can organize it in.
Right.
So last year, my mom just got me a bag that was just full of assorted chocolates. And throughout the year, I have just continuously restocked that bag. And like every time that bag gets low, my husband goes to Aldi's and then he buys me more chocolate. So this bag is never completely empty. And it is known as my chocolate bag. Thank you, Regina.
I have
grew
a
them
gripe with
myself.
Aldi's at the moment.
What did Aldi's do?
Their mangoes have just been really weird.
Their mangoes have been weird.
Yeah,
Do we need to
like
fight them?
I would like to fight. Honestly, I got 4
I will
mangoes.
fight.
One of them wasn't sweet, even though it was like soft and ripe. One was like
It's weird.
it wasn't. It was still kind of hard, but it was like gross on the inside. And 2 of them were
Aldi's,
like
what are you
okay.
doing with the mangoes?
I don't know.
I've never had a mango, so I would have no
So
idea.
Aldi's.
Oh God, yes, you're missing out on
Mangoes are good.
I like
one
dried
of the
mango
best
a lot.
fruit. Me
So
too.
if anybody
have like a
is
corner-
curious, oh, go ahead.
We have like a corner shop where they sell, I think it's dried mango from the Philippines or something. At least it's in Thai or maybe. I'm not sure about the letters
My
on it, but
chocolate
the
bag is
mango,
in the
oh
back
my
corner
God,
under
it's
my
like
clothes.
dry, but it's also moist.
I do like dried mangoes.
Do I have to go get my chocolate bag?
Merry Christmas.
I have to get my chocolate bag myself.
Sad times.
In the meantime, So I will show y'all all the chocolate my mother has purchased me for this Christmas. Well, my parents and my sister. Then there's this one.
That's a lot of chocolate.
She's not done.
I'm not. This is, I think, my favorite. But hold on, there's also these Brazilian chocolates that the Dollar Tree was selling. And then this,
Ooh,
which
that's
is
cute.
different flavored cocos. And I'm still missing one. I had a second one of these that is in the closet somewhere. And then my grandparents got me this, which I've already tried the French vanilla one. So, can I had to order my own chocolate. Can I rent your relatives for Christmas if you want? And this is my chocolate bag, which stores all of my chocolate in my closet. And so when my children want chocolate, they'll come to me and they'll be like, "Mom, can I have some chocolate?" And I'm like, "I suppose you may pick one from my bag."
I suppose you may sample one of spring.
They're great for bribing for homework, especially these ones. I can just be like, "Hey, you want some chocolate? Finish your homework."
Do math.
Finish your homework.
That's it.
Ugh, math. I don't want to do math. Please don't.
I also have this. These are what's in my chocolate bag right now, not what I got. You want some chocolate? Come get some chocolate.
My Christmas presents were this bag of peanut M&Ms.
No, that's cocoa, and I'm not opening it yet, so you got to pick a
And
different
this
chocolate.
bottle of wine with a pretty sweater. And
That
a
is
hat.
actually
I
kind of
love that. That's
I love
cute.
that. That's adorable.
Oh, let's not do that hand
And
motion again, but
This.
that's adorable.
So it's in my background with my tree hanging out, having a fun time.
I love giving gifts.
I love giving
used
gifts and
to-
getting food.
I love food. I mostly just bought presents for the best friend's baby this year because I don't know, because he's a baby. I like to buy presents for babies.
Usually, everyone in my family spoils the kids, and then we get for the adults that constitute our branches. So, like, I would get presents for my parents and my sisters and their significant others if they have any. My continental cookie assortment is not fitting in my chocolate bag.
Rude.
That is distressing news.
I need a bigger bag.
You need a
We're gonna need another Timmy.
I mostly got shoes for Christmas because that's like I don't have any shoes. I need like good sneakers.
See, I love practical gifts like that because it's like, to me, it's a sign that it's like, well, you care to take care of me.
I love practical
So
gifts.
I love those.
100%. Like, you want to buy me a new vacuum cleaner for Christmas? Please.
Yes.
I'll take it.
But my sister got a pair of AirPods, and I tested them out with her while she was like setting them up. And I think I have to buy myself some because the noise canceling shit on the AirPod Pros, I almost cried at how silent it was. It was amazing.
There's something called AirPod Pros.
Yeah.
I only have regular AirPods like the new I am.
I have cheap Amazon knockoffs that cost like $25. So
I
I'm a
have this
white bitch.
pair of like 7-year-old Beats. I've replaced the cushion things on these.
I got these on sale on Amazon on Black Friday for like $25, and they're normally like $70, but they're like
Ooh, what's the
Sony.
steal?
Sony, living large.
I bought these from a coworker when I was in college because she bought a new MacBook or something, and they came with the headphones. She was like, "I don't need these. Do you want them?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'll give you $100 for them." And they're like, "I don't know how much they cost regularly, but it was a good price."
Nice. My headset was either a Christmas or a birthday present. And it has lasted me. It's Zelda.
Ooh, that's fun.
Lexi, I'm sorry you don't have enough space for all of your books. That's sad.
Oh, I'm getting to do a purge of books over New Year's, and I'm excited.
Yes, I love purging away things that I don't want anymore.
I still
And it
can't
makes
do
room
it.
for things I want.
I think
I-
I'm like 99% gay, but then I'm 1% Marie Kondo, and I'm okay with that.
I think I'm going to do a purge of red books. That like
okay.
Oh,
books that
not the color red. Books
It's
you've
okay.
actually read.
I had that moment too, Stig.
I was like,
Books
why
I've read.
specifically red books?
books I have read. I'm going to probably have a purge of those. Because I definitely have some series that like I'm never gonna finish because I didn't like them, and those can go. And there's some books I just don't love. So I'm gonna like cultivate my shelves a little bit better to be more of like books that I genuinely really enjoyed. They don't even have to be like books I loved. They can just be books I enjoyed for whatever reason. But I am just that person. Like I'm that bitch. I can't get rid of books I haven't read yet because I'm like, but what if I love it? Like, what if I love
I
it?
do that too. That's
That's
why for a while my TBR goal was just like all the physical books I have. Like because then I can then I can get rid of them if I don't like them, because on the one hand I'm like, but what if I love it? What if I want to keep this book forever? And it's like, but what if I hate this book and it's just taking up room on my shelf? So especially since I don't have a bookshelf yet, so everything is just in a tub or on my closet shelf.
I have the shelf behind me, and I made like not a sacred vow, but it also is a sacred vow that I'm only allowed to have books that I can put on that shelf, and the shelf is full, and it fills up quite quickly. But I do this thing where I like, if I like the cover of the first book in series, I'll just buy the 3 first books, even if I haven't read them, because like, what if I like them? I've stopped with that now, but like, I have this urban fantasy series where I bought the 5 first books in it, and I'm like, I've only read the first one, and it was alright, but I'm not going to finish it. But I have this phase where I liked buying books, but I didn't like reading them.
I definitely.
Is that a hobby? I think that's my hobby. I like buying books, but I don't like to read them.
You should be a librarian.
There are multiple book-related hobbies. Some people really enjoy like having books, and some people enjoy reading books, and some people enjoy both. I'm a both person, but not everybody is, and that's okay.
Yeah, I think I enjoy the aesthetic of having books, but I'm like, oh, do I have to read them?
Ew. First off, I read most of my books via audio. So like, why do I need the physical book anyway? But I don't know. I just love to look at them. I love like the joy of Sam can't do it. She can't handle because I look in this direction, and she looks in this direction, and she needs to be over there. It's fine. Sam has control of things that she should not have control.
I don't abuse my power today.
She does not. Today.
You just
it's
walk the
fine.
line.
Right. But I am doing a video of these books will self-destruct in 12 months. So I have like 10 books that if I don't read by the end of the year, they're out regardless. Because I've had them like for varying different reasons. So I think I filmed that video.
I was watching that video before you got backstage. I got up to where like I got through the intro and the explanation of the video, and then right when you were about to start telling me which books they were, you came backstage and I paused the video and promptly forgot.
I can't remember. I was like, I can't even remember if I filmed it. Apparently, it's uploaded. So
yeah, you filmed it. You edited it. You uploaded it. It's live.
I want you guys to know this is how my life has been lately. I have no clue what's happening.
It's day 16 for anybody who wants to go watch it. It's about 9 minutes long. Day
16. Fancy. So I have that going, and then I think I'm gonna do like a big try a chapter in January, and like books that I'm not sure if I want to read them or not, if I'm going to enjoy them, and do those. Maybe, I don't know. I'm not promising nothing, but
I already like whenever I look at my bookshelf, I already know, like, I look at a book and I'm like, I'm gonna throw you out next year. Haha.
You're not staying, bitch.
Yeah. Your life is in my hands, mortal.
I
Because it's books
definitely,
I know I'll never read, so I'm like, why am I keeping on to this just for a pretty cover?
I have some that like had a lot of hype when they came out, or like right before they came out. So I pre-ordered or bought them when they first came out, and then since then everyone's been like, I wish I hadn't bought this because it's not that great. And so now I'm like, great. Now I'm just chilling with that. So
Yeah.
it's fine. Everyone else also thought I meant just red colored books. You people are weird.
We
Syntax,
caught
Jess, have you
on.
heard about
Like,
it?
we figured it out.
I'm gonna get rid of some red books and then maybe some purple ones. Tom. Hello, Tom. Speaking of red. Grape's gonna
Grape's
go
getting a charger.
gonna go get a charger.
But
That's
yeah.
okay. At some point my headphones are probably gonna go out, so
I adjusted my reading goal for next year to, because I've last 5 years I've had a reading goal of reading 12 books a year, which is not a lot, but I've never reached it. But it isn't a lot. And this year I'm like at book number 8 or something. So next year I'm just gonna read books. No number.
my goal for next year is 30.
My goal is 24. It's 24 every year. This year, I'm at 23. I technically could count the Land Before or the Land of Stories book 1 because I've heard it on and off various parts about 7 times now, putting the kids to bed. But I haven't sat through and listened to it myself from beginning to end, so I really don't want to count it.
That's fair.
But that just means I'll have to do that in the next 5 days, probably. It's not a
finally
long
been-
book, so it should be fine.
Finished Crooked Kingdom the other day, which has taken me like 2.5, 3 months to finish. So
Nice.
your goal is 50 plus, M?
You do you, boo.
Emily has been killing it with audiobooks this year. So my goal this year was 120 and I'm at 130. And my goal for next year is just 30.
Stig
Because
and
I have
I
other
are
things I want to do.
down here with our 12 and our 24.
It's fine. I have friends that have read 300 books this year. And like, girl, I could never. But that's fine. Like,
Well, for
people
clarity, I don't feel bad because I know why I can only read the number of books that I read. I used to be a much more prolific reader, but then I had children and my chronic illness got worse. I'm trying to be a writer and there's just too much going on. Me and books, we flirt with each other when I'm doing housework, and that's it.
And I'm with Emily, who is in the land of audiobooks. Like, I probably read 20 physical books a year.
Yeah.
Everything else is audio. So
Well, yeah, audiobooks is how I bought a singular ebook in July, and I was going to read that ebook. I have read 4 or 5 audiobooks since I bought that ebook. It's just audiobooks are just so much more convenient. And I can multitask while I do them. I still prefer traditional. Here's my thing. Here's my paradox that I live in. I prefer curling up with a physical book because it's guaranteed me time, and it's I'm not focusing on anybody else or doing anything else. I'm just relaxing and spoiling myself with a book. So that's part of the reason I prefer a hard copy of a book. But I'm dyslexic, and so I actually read faster and better when I read an ebook with the Open Dyslexia font.
Yeah.
But if I am reading it on my phone or something, I get sort of restless. It's just not the same feeling. So then I want to get up and do other things, or I want to check my messages or something. And then But if I put on an audiobook, I can listen to an audiobook while I'm doing my laundry. I can listen to an audiobook while I'm cleaning the house, which for me is better than not being able to consume a book at all. Plus, I have found some very nice audiobook narrators that I really enjoy listening to, such as Robbie Damon. He can read all of the old man fantasy books to me, and I might get through them. So I just need
I
him
recently
to-
started Wheel of Time, which is very much an old man fantasy book,
fucking Robert Jordan.
but it's narrated by Rosamund Pike, and the silky smoothness of her voice just tingles my spine.
So I think it was A New Spring I read by. I really like Robert Jordan, though I've only ever read one book of his, and I hated how he wrote. I just really like him because I'm like, he is one of the biggest trolls I have ever encountered in writing because of the way he opened that book up. But also, he is, oh God. When I like parody, like when I talk about old man fantasy voice and I'm sitting there parody talking about a guy describing his traveling companion that he's known since childhood, and then they passed a tree and the tree is like leaf fell, and then I get the history of the tree. It's him. He is who I am thinking of every time. That book.
It very much feels like it, because I'm on chapter like 7 or 8 now, and I'm like, okay, so when is this picking up? We got places to be. We got we got deadlines to hit.
Have you read A New Spring? I think it's a prequel.
No,
Okay.
I've only ever.
I know nothing about the main
have
series.
not read any of them, but it's like on the someday list, which is one reason why I want to get through my TBR so much, because I have so many books I want to read, but I feel like I have to read the ones I already own. And it's like, but girl, do you need to read all of these books?
I'm only reading it because of the TV show, which also coincidentally features Rosamund Pike.
I dated a guy like 1.5 million years ago, which I was in my early 20s, so it was kind of like 1.5 million years ago. And it was like his favorite book series. It was the only thing he'd ever read. And for a while I thought about reading it, but then I was like,
Don't read
nah.
it for a guy. Read it for you, Jess.
Well, I was like, old white
you
guy
don't
books. I don't
know.
want to read those. And
Read
so
it for
I walked
Rosamund
away,
Pike.
Yeah,
But
read
now
it for
I'm like, I want to
Rosamund.
read it for Rosamund Pike. So, you know.
My
Yeah.
parents are really big fans of the book series, and my dad owns all of the paperback, and I'm pretty sure my mom has all of the audiobooks. So I might be able to ask my mom if she'll let me borrow her account to listen to the audio.
It very much is old man fantasy. It's like the original Boy on the Farm story. So if you go in like expecting that it's gonna be like a slow start, then
See, my thing is, I don't mind the concept of old man fantasy. I really enjoy it. That's part of why whenever a series, like a TV show or a movie comes out, I'm like, I will consume the story this way. Reading it, I zone out. I cannot focus on the words because they take so long to give me information I don't need.
yeah, it very much is like a lot of setup, but it's like a 14-book brick series. So
They also
I
got
guess the
paid
setup.
they got paid by like the word or paper or the page, depending on what
Did they?
era they wrote in. Yeah, like Tolkien got paid per word. And a couple of them, at some point, you stopped getting paid per word and you started getting paid per page.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's
That's
why.
Old fantasies are dry as fuck, is because they were paid per
That's
word.
why they'll give you the entire history of a city that you don't need. You genuinely don't need them. Why are you putting a piece of paper in front of my face? Stop stepping on the charger. I don't know why, but every time they step like over the charger or what I'm plugged into, my lights flicker. All right.
Yeah,
That
they
seems
were-
like a poor business model, because then they could just literally write. They could literally write like whatever they want and just get paid for it.
Well, it was the
typically-
style at the time.
And it was typically like not on your first book. It was on like after you proved that you could sell, you would be paid per word.
Yeah. So
Because the bigger the book was, the more they could charge for it.
It makes sense, but
and printing cost wasn't quite as big an issue because of the way they did printing back then.
I just know that Tolkien couldn't get red on his book cover because of printing costs.
Yes. Well, colored ink was
Yeah.
very different than page count.
But that's why it was like, just 80 pages of description of things that no one cares about.
Which
To be fair,
to this,
Tolkien wrote an entire book that was unnecessary, which is Two Towers.
Tolkien also had a different goal than most authors did, as far as I'm aware. I recently did a lot of the deep dive on Tolkien for some reason. I don't even remember why. I just went down a rabbit hole. But Tolkien wanted to create, because he was kind of culturally jealous of like the Norse, who had these Scandinavia, who had these very like deep cultural mythology of the gods and the 9 worlds, and the ice giants and the dwarves and everything, and the Celtic regions that had their fae and their fairies and their trolls and their house elves and everything. And just basically wherever he looked, there were these homegrown myths and everything about the creation of the world. And he's like, well, England doesn't have anything like that. And so he wanted to create something like that. And that's why he wrote it. And he tried to write it as if he was one of these ancient people trying to explain how the world came about. And that's the reason he made an encyclopedia, and the reason he made the Sumerian and a bunch of like all these other things is because he was actually trying to create his own mythology, in the mythology that followed these characters. So in a way, you can even look at like the whole thing is an unreliable narrator, and like you can actually question certain things like, well, how would somebody know this thing? It could go into a whole thing if you wanted to. So that's in part the reason he did his the way he did his. But because he was one of the first and one of the biggest, that's why a lot of fantasy authors followed under his example. Whereas like the other giant at the time was C.S. Lewis, who had a very different way of writing his fantasy. Her fantasy? No, Lewis?
His fantasy. It's a
Yes.
him.
I forgot
C.S.
for a
Lewis
moment.
and Tolkien were like really good friends, actually.
Were they colleagues at some college
They
somewhere?
were colleagues at some place. I think they were both in the war. I think they both fought in the war. Like they were friends. The other thing with Tolkien is that he was a linguist. He created the Elven language before he ever even started writing Lord of the Rings. So he was like a historian and a linguist first. An author was like 3rd or 5th thing on his list. And so
Tolkien was
and a lot of my hate, which again, I've only read the first book because I haven't made it to the second 2 yet. Living the dream here. But a lot of my hate with the first book is that all of his women are like the exact same woman, just in a different place.
They were all modeled after his wife.
They're all modeled after his wife. And like, I love that he loved his wife enough to like model these very important women in the series after her. But like, can we have some flavor? Like,
there's other women in the world, Tolkien.
Like, and apparently like I think like every woman other than Éowyn is like just his wife. And Éowyn was because he realized that his daughter needed a role model that she could look up to in his stories. And so then he wrote Éowyn. But like, man,
Éowyn is
like,
arguably the best female character though in that book series.
Right. But it's like, dude, have you never met another woman that was like interesting at all to you?
His wife had no concerns. He was just very secure in their relationship.
Yeah.
Probably didn't allow women into the college at the time. Who knows?
Jess is like, did you not have a mom? An aunt?
Right. No, his mom was the spider, I'm sure.
Just dropped my phone.
Because, the entire series has 11 women. I think it's 11. It might be 9. I don't know. I have a rant review about it, but it's been so long I don't remember.
I'm pretty sure the book has like 3. No, the movies.
The entire series, like the entire book series, is like 9 or 11 women, and one of them is a fucking spider. So
So it sounds like you, me, and Matt should do my Tolkien Let's Talk, because I was planning on doing one some point
Can-
next year.
Can we do that after I read the second 2 books?
I have to read all of them too. I know more about Tolkien than I do about any of the books. I will I will wholeheartedly admit that.
No, I have not.
I did at some point in my life, and I have forgotten it.
It was Shelob.
Shelob.
I know the spider was Shelob. I mean, it's modeled after his mother, but thank you, Christopher. Try to tell me what's in my brain. I'm just being sassy for no reason, by the way.
I think it's the sugar rush from those peanuts.
Mm-hmm.
Probably. She's still on that Tolkien hate high.
Mm-hmm.
It's been 84 years, Jess.
You know the
And
sad
to
thing
be
is, I
fair,
don't
Excuse me.
I
Lord
don't
of the
hate
Rings is better than The Hobbit because I don't think Hobbit has a single female character in it. So
This is correct.
it. It doesn't. But The Hobbit was the first thing that I read. I think The Hobbit was like the first fantasy book I ever read. I was like in 6th or 7th grade. I was like 12 or 13. And I loved it. Haven't read it since, but you know.
I am a wee bit obsessed with The Hobbit.
I concur.
I
never
I
finished. I
don't-
DNF'd it. It's one of the few DNFs I have under my belt.
I've never
didn't
attempted to read it.
I'm sorry,
think I
what'd you
gave it,
say,
like-
Grape?
I've never even attempted to read it.
That's fair.
How many stars did you give it, Jess?
I think 3.
I think
And
that's
I
a
think-
fair rating.
I think what I said in my review was that, like, had I read it when it came out, it would have been a 5-star because I would have been blown away, like, by just the fact that it was new, like it was something completely different.
Yeah.
And like with this brain, had I never read anything like that before, 5-star. Had I read it like in the early 2000s before, like I conceptualized people other than white people because I live in an all-white town, so you know, living the dream. Had I conceptualized like that there were people other than me out there, I probably still would have given it a 4-star. But now I'm like, you got 9 women and a bunch of white dudes. Like, we need some flavor, some spice, some something. Can we have like, I don't know,
You can have Priory of the
Anything.
Orange Tree, which is like the modern day Lord of the Rings.
which I also need to read. Oh my god, I think I'm
See,
reading that in January. Oh god.
My issue with Tolkien is not Tolkien himself or even his story, because he wrote a story when he wrote a story, and I don't blame or hold the past to modern standards, with few exceptions. Like, if I know that it was bad for the time it was written in, thinking of one very specific author, then I'm like, no, I'm perfectly comfortable still judging the past for the past. My issue is that Tolkienism is so deeply rooted in fantasy that when people try to not like to do their own thing or just to not follow Tolkien's example, they're villainized or criticized, or it's a downside for them, which isn't his fault, but it's still an unfortunate issue. Like, if you try to make dwarves that are more modeled after dwarves in Norse mythology, which is where they come from, then people will criticize you for not making dwarves the way that like fantasy dwarves should be, and aka the way Tolkien rebranded them. And I'm like, but I like Norse dwarves better. I think they're cooler. So
I think a lot of people are really surprised in which is a completely different topic, but like Avengers Endgame, like when they went to Nidavellir and they were like dwarves, and they, you know, were expecting like a dwarf, and they got a dwarf, and people were like, what the fuck is this? And it's like, well, not necessarily Norse on that either. Like, that wasn't really Norse mythology wise, but it was an interesting twist of like a merge of like the Norse dwarfs and the Tolkien dwarfs. It was like a merging of the two. So,
yes.
Oh,
um,
ow.
Yeah.
that's true. That's fair.
There's a nose.
I think that one of like the best things that I'll remember the name eventually.
Chris
Rick
Evans?
Riordan. Chris Evans, yes, that too. Rick Riordan, completely different kind of dad there. Whew. I knew that was gonna get great.
Stop.
I love that he was able to write the Magnus Chase series and like bring Norse mythology to like a more kid-friendly version of it. But it made me so happy because it's like the very like wholesome version, but also a more accurate version.
I have very mixed feelings with the Magnus Chase series because some
Ooh.
things I feel like he hits very well, and then other things I'm like, sir, no. Like, sir, this is very obviously influenced by Western media and not the actual mythology. So
Yeah.
I have very conflicting, mixed feelings about the Magnus Chase series, but I do think so far it's the best Norse or Scandinavian Norse inspired mythological series we got in America.
It's pretty much all we have.
Uh,
But I love
and-
that he's using his powers for good instead of evil,
I
and
agree.
also supporting other people of other cultures. So good for
And
him.
when he's corrected, he actually goes back and he has it corrected in like newer editions.
Newer editions, yeah. He's like the only old white guy that I stand behind.
So, to what Sauerkraus said earlier, there's actually a lot of counter protest for that, though, because a lot of Scandinavian cultures are like, no, this isn't okay. You can't just take our stuff and use it for white supremacy. It's for us. It's for what we use it for. So they'll like go to rallies and protest and fight back against that. So
I think like neo-Nazism, is that what it's
yes,
called?
neo-Nazism.
Which is like the branches that kind of borrow from like the Nordic culture are very like American. So outside of America, you don't really associate.
All neo-Nazis at this point are American, let's be honest.
No, they had a really I think where was it? Because there was one in Europe where they were doing a
Sweden.
rally, and Sweden. That's where they were doing a really big counter. So but the reason that they do it is because the ideal that like what the Aryan race is based on their view of Vikings. They like the entire thing was started because of that, which is really frustrating and sad because it's like that culture isn't who started it. Somebody just decided, yes, this culture is the epitome of white people. And so that is what a lot of it's modeled off of. But those cultures aren't the ones who started it, and they don't even like it. So they're like, a lot of those cultures are actively fighting back against it.
As they should. As a culture, you should have the right to your culture. I have no culture because I'm just a mixed up pup. So, AKA.
Thank you, Regina. It's my Christmas hat.
Oh yes, it's a great hat.
Oh,
it's like the swastika used to be a symbol for. Was it peace? Did it mean peace?
It actually is a
Buddhist
sign of the
symbol.
4 towers of the natural elements. So it's earth, air, fire, water. But we can't use it anymore. We're not allowed as a pagan to use that symbol because then we're Nazis. So we've had to come up with other symbols. That's why Wiccans use the pentagram, which of course has been turned into a Satanist thing. You can't have it. We can't have nice things anymore.
We can't. I just saw Stig's thing.
I'm getting dating ads from Australia now.
I mean, let's go to Australia, Stig. Maybe we'll both find boyfriends.
Well, I want to read you this ad because I don't think they hit the target audience.
Okay.
Never had a boyfriend? ? Hello there. I'm Daniel, an outgoing, successful guy from Australia. I'm looking for love. I haven't had a partner before, and I'd like to find an intelligent woman who has the same position as me. I have a fantastic life, and I'd love to have someone to come and share it with me. Yes, I know this is very strange, but it is entirely genuine. Come on and learn more about me, singleguyfromadelaide.com. So,
I mean,
I don't think I'm the woman you're looking for, Daniel. I think your princess might be in another castle.
you have found Fiona. Go to the next castle over.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Is
Lexi would bite.
this a single
which-
man who's like run his own website to find someone, or is this like
I don't know. Check out singleguyfromadelaide.com and you'll.
I currently am? Yes.
Grape is
I
looking
love
for
it.
love.
Grape is looking for love in all the wrong places.
I'm
be
just
fair,
nosy.
If I could date an Australian, my standards would be extremely low because I just want to date an Australian.
I don't have a specific person that I want to date. I just want to date someone who's not like a bumbling country bumpkin. Like, I feel like is that too much to ask? Like, could I not just have like a racist, homophobic piece of shit? I mean, I can't because of where I live, but
Those were two very different sentiments to me. You're like country bumpkin. I'm like, yes, those poor himbos that don't know better in life. And then you went a completely different way. And I'm like, oh,
Those
fair.
bumpkins.
Those bumpkins.
Ohio country bumpkins. Okay.
Apparently.
Himbos are fine. Somebody has to be the pretty one in the relationship. I'm fine with himbos. I just, oh my god, please.
So how's the search going, Grape?
This
other
website, the
pictures.
first page, the homepage is very wordy. There's a video, but I can't play that obviously.
He's wordy.
Daniel, come on, do better.
Concise, sir. Concise.
I'll return to this later.
I don't even know what I said,
He's a
Lexi. So
rambling man. I thought she said a bumbling country bumpkin,
I think I did say bumbling.
because that's a phrase.
A bumbling band of buffoons.
Yes.
I don't know what I said, to be completely fair. But yeah, I live in the middle of nowhere, Ohio, and it's a hot mess here, guys. Don't come here. Don't do it. It's a bad idea.
Planning on visiting during the summer.
I mean,
Use this guy.
we
from
can go visit somewhere. We can go visit Katie in the summer. We'll just go see Katie in Pennsylvania, where it's even worse.
I was about to say,
I-
Jess, I don't. I've known people from Pennsylvania. It might be fine, but my sample size disagrees. Although they do have the Hershey factory, so I'm all for it.
That's where Katie's gonna take Stig, is to Hershey, Pennsylvania.
Yes.
And
she
to
says
know
it's
Robertstown. I'm excited for that.
Listen, if I'm not invited on this trip, I'm gonna
Warville.
be real mad. I still need to talk. I still need to talk to HR about Friday. Like, I have problems. So
Stephanie, full disclaimer, I've never been to Pennsylvania, so I don't actually
either.
know anything. The very few, as I said, I have a small sample size. Few people I have known from Pennsylvania are very judgy. So damn judgy. And not the politest. So
My only sample size from Pennsylvania is Katie, which makes me uneasy about Pennsylvania.
what's wrong with Katie?
I'm curious. What's that mean?
You've met her, right?
I have
Not
actually met her in
enough to
person.
judge?
Oh. No, there's
love
nothing wrong
Katie.
with Katie.
I want to be Katie. When I grow
Me
up, I want to
too.
be Katie.
Me too. When I grow down, I want to be Katie.
I feel like there's tea
She's a-
here.
She's a decade younger than us, so
She is. She could be
Ah.
our daughter if we had a baby at 10.
You can come visit me and we can go to Disneyland and eat. Anybody willing to feed me? You're my favorite.
Hell yeah, Lexi.
we're going. Everybody's going to Alexi's. Justin's getting Russian dating ads.
What's Ghirardelli Square, Regina?
That's
I do
more
wanna visit-
chocolate.
I do want to visit San Francisco. It looks like a lovely town, and it's also which is right up my alley.
In case you didn't know, my thing.
Yeah.
You can take me to all the chocolate places, and I don't care what state they're in. I will go with you.
I don't really like
I'm
chocolate
open-
outside of milk chocolate.
I'm open to other food too.
I don't like chocolate either.
We have like this candy shop downtown called Grandpa Joe's Candy Shop, and it's based off of like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
I have to go visit you now.
Yeah. Listen, our downtown is not that bad, and our town has grown, and people are like being more open to the real world, especially in my age bracket and younger. But I don't actually live in town. I live out in the middle of nowhere with all of the country bumpkins. So
The town isn't bad. The people, though, yeesh.
yeah, that for
So
sure.
Chris and I were talking about the city that we live in, and it's great for raising kids. They actually have a lot of kid and family friendly places and everything, and the city is building itself up. Unfortunately, the city's infrastructure was not designed to be a metropolitan area, so it's creating more traffic issues as the city grows, and they can't like fix those issues because it was designed to be a farming town, not a metropolitan area. But like as more and more businesses come in, you've got more and more kid and family places, and it's like not actually good if you don't have kids or like doing kid things. So when Chris and I try to plan dates, we're like, we don't know what to do. We're just gonna go to Nashville.
Yes, it's another Chuck E. Cheese.
To do there.
We have our downtown is really like having a resurgence in the last 5 years or so. It was basically just like a plethora of uninhabited buildings where upstairs of them had all been converted to apartments, but now they're like storefronts again and actually having things downtown. And we have a bookstore that actually sells real new, brand new books. We had a bookstore previously that only sold used books, and they just had like these giant like 5 foot by 5 foot bins in the middle of the floor, like 30 of them, and they just had books in the bins and like a price tag on the outside of the bin, and like that was your bookstore. Like you couldn't order new things, you could just like go in and search through bargain bins for books. That was all we had. We have like 30 coffee shops downtown now and probably 20 restaurants, and like it's growing. Thank God for hipsters and Gen Z.
Kelly has given me a grand offer. I will take it into consideration because I like food. And that sounds like there will be good quality food.
Oops, she accidentally created a false reality.
Are you also? Because that's news to me.
Because hit me up.
Oh my God. I love you guys. You guys are the best. Prior to this live stream, we did not talk about how long it was going to be, so this is my checking in on your mental stamina for everyone that's on a screen right now.
Need to practice for my night shifts coming up, so I'm good for another couple of hours.
I'm also good for maybe not hours, another hour or two.
I will never leave.
We know this about you.
Oh, so the check-in was for everyone but me. I see.
No, because sometimes you like it's your turn to put the kids to bed, or like you have responsibilities.
Even if it's my turn to put the kids to bed, sometimes I just tell them to go upstairs and do it by themselves.
Go put yourself to bed.
But also, it's a vacation. They've been living the high life. They get to watch 2 movies before bed, so they like get ready for bed, go watch 2 movies. We go up there between 11 and 12, sit there for like 15, 20 minutes with the audiobook on, and they're knocked out. It's been great.
I think so, Lexi. Because
Lexi
I
has
do
questions
it.
for people that are not for me.
What hand gesture for buy?
The-
What is it? Oh, so it's the same one? Okay.
Yeah, it's all encompassing. That's the
Yeah.
word, right? Yes.
I'm a straight ass white bitch from Ohio. I don't have a say in whether you're allowed to use that or not.
Well, as a certified freak 7 days a week, I say you can use it. Lexi.
I feel like that's a different certification.
I don't know. I feel like with your friend group, it's a little queer, so that may be an indicator of some things for yourself.
Aren't you
Eventually.
Demi? That includes you.
Yeah.
Demis are included. We're Grey Ace.
Yeah,
That's fair.
you're all welcome here.
I'm
Wow,
almost
wait
being
a second.
aged out of the social circle. My friend was a professor.
How presumptuous of her, like you're not that girl.
Just because I hang out with you doesn't mean I like you. Like, I can hang out with guys who I don't want to bone. So, hey, what's up?
It just means that you're a little fruity.
I feel like when you're Demi, it means you're less fruity because you have less fruit.
No, that is not what it
You-
means.
Do you need less fruit? I don't know.
No.
Listen,
I always need
it's
more
a
fruit.
It's a really weird conceptualization.
It means it means that we need a specialty fruit.
That's true. You do
That's
need to
it.
have some special.
You're a tomato. You're a pretend fruit.
Did you know the
Or a berry.
fun fact I learned on Thursday? Did you know that also pretend fruits include cucumbers and bell peppers and
Yes.
anything
Yes.
that is grown from a flowering plant is a fruit.
Wait a second.
Grace having like revelations from both sides. She's freaking out, man. So like anything that comes from a plant that blooms and then the fruit grows from the bloom is a fruit. Tomatoes.
A pretend
Cucumbers.
Grapes. Do they have flowers? Or is it just ranks? Is it called a
Or are
rank
they-
in English?
Or they
Vine?
berries.
Grapes are not berries. I feel like the culinary world is
Grapes
just all
are-
pretend.
Grape's a berry because it grows on a vine. Same with a pumpkin, if I remember right.
Pumpkins are berries.
Yeah,
Pumpkins are
Apologies,
that's what I was
wild.
saying.
classified as berries. Yeah.
Botany is wild.
Well,
I
it's like
think
In more ways
someone
than
just
one.
made a mistake long ago classifying it, and they're like, okay, but we made a system, so we got to use it, even if it doesn't
Right?
add
So
anything.
whoever came up with the system, they like were only exposed to certain kinds, and then like everything else was it, and they're like, look, we already said what we said.
Yeah.
We
Our
gotta
story, and
stick
we're sticking
to
to it.
I feel like it was like there's a botanist view of what classifies a fruit and a vegetable and a culinary view what classifies a fruit and a vegetable.
I
like-
think that's actually a thing.
I think
I
that's
only-
the difference.
I only think that's a thing because sometimes when Matt and Sophie talk about it, they'll be like botany classification, culinary classification, and I mildly keep up with them.
I did not know that it was. Listen, again, come from a small town in white ass fucking America. So, like, we didn't learn these things.
Okay, here's
We
the
learned
thing.
that
If you don't,
tomato was a fruit, but that was like a funny thing that we learned in
Flamingo
high
is a bird.
school. A flamingo?
here's the thing with common knowledge. Common knowledge is regional. The knowledge that is common is going to be based on where you grew up. Because I know a lot more about tobacco than most people I know, and I don't smoke tobacco.
Yeah.
Yes. This is a thing.
Grape got snacks.
Yes, my sister wanted to show me her grades, and then I pilfered this giant bag of gummy bears.
I approve.
Don't you have like a giant jar of gummy bears behind you?
Those are Sour Patch Kids, right
Oh, okay.
there.
Sour Patch Kids are arguably better than gummy bears, though.
Grape.
I
what
agree.
I'm
Yes.
what I'm
But she
discovering
also
is
has to count the Sour Patch Kids as she eats them.
This is
Are you
not
still counting them, or
non-committal.
did you give up?
No, I am. I'm still counting them. I have a notebook. I said fuck the spreadsheet. The notebook is easier because it's right by it. But yeah, I'm writing down how many I take every time I take some.
I don't remember saying flamingo, to be fair, so that's why I'm confused about the flamingo question.
But you said counting fruits, and you said flamingo, but you said like, and I didn't even know flamingo was a fruit or a berry. And
If
you
I
might have said
did,
something
I
else.
heard tomato. Is that what I heard?
I said
too
tomato,
thought I heard tomato.
but also, who knows?
Well, I'm a dumb
Although-
person, so you probably said tomato.
I have learned that grape to candy is me to chocolate. So
Yes. Fair.
yeah.
All the fair.
Thank you, Regina.
Listen, maybe I was just thinking about pink birds.
As one does. Seminana, yeah.
So we
No,
went to the
I really want an empanada.
So we went to this little, like, we got a racetrack in the city, and every year they decorate it with lights and stuff. And we were driving through it, and on this one turn, we came back, and there was like flamingos and a bunch of other like tropical holiday stuff. And I'm like, ah, yes, the South, celebrating both snowy Christmas and tropical Christmas.
Yeah. It was Emily was talking about being like 105 in Australia, and it was 67 here yesterday, and it's supposed to be winter here.
I had to turn on my AC yesterday.
It is currently minus 13 degrees in Norway. So
Celsius or
Yes.
I
Fahrenheit?
will
I do
only
not-
accept this with snow. I
That
do
would
not
be
accept
like
it on its own.
17, I think.
in Fahrenheit, it's 8.6.
Ooh, I was way off. That's fucking
There's
cold.
no snow,
dude.
Sam. There's like a sprinkle, but no snow, which is why I'm feeling betrayed.
I too would feel betrayed.
That's cold, dude. Like both
So
emotionally and physically cold.
that poor
Yeah.
flamingo. So right now it's 65 Fahrenheit and 18 Celsius.
Because my body is built for Alaska, but my soul is built for Florida. So I feel betrayed.
You could live here, you'd get both.
It's true.
Deep in the heart of Tennessee.
Dun, 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 dun. I apparently have another window open with StreamYard, like waiting for me to enter the room.
As one
Look,
does.
but look, most boop. I'm here twice.
Dun, 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 dun.
Oh,
I'm not gonna click you in here because there's a lot of feedback that might come in.
I know. I heard it. I could hear it. I'm like, whoa, this is weird. So I X'd out. It's fine. But I was like, really?
Like,
That's
Are
weird.
you
there's a
kidding, Lexi?
There's a song that's like, I'm dreaming of a white Christmas. And I'm always like, just like the one I've never known. I would eat it. I want to taste it. I just can't tell my son there's flamingo in it because he really loves flamingos and he might not want to eat one. Or he could be like me. I'll have to ask him.
It's going to be 72 degrees tomorrow, and that is just like ridiculous. It's December. Why is it so warm? Stig, that's 22 for you.
Thank you. That's
For
global
reference.
warming for you.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, something.
All right, come here. I have a question. I am on live, though. I know you don't like to be on camera. So, listen. If we had tamales, but they're okay, listen. If we had a burrito and it was filled with flamingo, would you still want to taste it? Yeah, like somebody cooked a flamingo and put it in a burrito. Would you still eat it?
Asking the important questions.
Like, if it tasted good, would you eat it?
Well, how would you know if it tasted good if you didn't
yeah,
eat it?
that's my kid. Okay, go upstairs. He said he would try it.
Sam is like, child, come here. Would you eat a flamingo? Okay, go to bed.
So
That was literally what you were doing, Sam. Just saying.
I know. Well, not go to bed, but go play. But yeah,
Close enough.
he really loves flamingos. Like when we go to the zoo, we have to spend 10 minutes just so he can observe the flamingos and everything. He's got a flamingo Florida snow globe from when Chris went to Florida. And like he just really loves flamingos. He has several flamingo stuffed animals. So I needed to know where he stood, if we were pro eating flamingo or anti eating flamingo. But I was like, if we put
would you
flamingo,
sacrifice the thing you love the most if it
so
tasted
I
good?
can taste it. And he was just, I was like, so if we put flamingo in a burrito, and he's like, how? I'm like, if we cooked it and put it in a burrito, and he's like, I don't know, that sounds weird. And I'm like, if it tasted good, would you eat it? And he's just sitting there thinking, and he's like, I would try it. And I'm like, that's
I
my
want to try it
child.
now, Lexi. I'm intrigued.
See?
I have I don't know. I don't
Who's your what?
like bird
I don't know where you put it.
meat typically. Like I'm not a fan of turkey. Chicken's okay, I'll eat it, but it's not like anything that traditionally is made with chicken. You could leave it out and I'd be happy. Like chicken and noodles, just give me the noodles. I don't want the chicken. It's disgusting.
I don't eat
Oh.
red meat. I only eat bird.
Where do I stand on flamingos? I mean, I would try it, but
So Gabriel. He's also not a big fan of most bird meat. I mean, same though.
I don't
Were
know.
you at any point in your life a horse girl?
I
need to
am
know.
to this day.
I don't know if I could eat. Stig, that one's for you.
She called you out.
Stig,
I'll
eat.
eat. Well, on Christmas Eve. But like when I cook for myself, I only cook either bird or if I'm feeling fancy, I'll do fish.
That's fair.
I would never knowingly eat horse either.
I feel like I
But
would
if you
be
didn't know,
traumatized
would
if
you
I
eat
did.
it?
Well, yeah, because I
I
wouldn't
feel like that's
know.
traumatizing.
If you knew it tasted good, would you eat it?
That's
no,
the
because-
important
Go to
part.
bed.
Because if
People
it
tell me
tastes bad, I ain't eating it.
So people tell me a lot of things taste good that I don't like. Like I don't like eggs. I don't like bananas. I don't like mushrooms. People love
I
those
don't like
things. I
dick.
hate them. So
That's
like,
a lie, Steve.
Okay.
I was just gonna let it go, but go ahead, Greg. Denise is just gonna call him out. I mean, they have personalities, so
I loved horses ever since I was a kid. I learned to. I can draw a horse better than any other animal, which is also why I can draw dragons, because dragon skulls are basically just horse skulls. And
Oh, wow.
and like I want to own a horse again at some point, but like there's nothing that I would not eat at least once except for long pig, and that's it. Everything else I'll eat.
Human?
Yes.
yeah.
Okay, that's weird.
I mean, I'd try it once.
That's fair.
Twice to
I
be
used
sure.
to want to be a horse girl, but I was like, this is way too much fucking effort.
Could you be a
It
horse
is
girl without
effort.
owning a horse?
Yeah.
Sam
Well, to
is.
be fair, yeah. The
I would have
horse.
been a YMCA horse girl.
I've never actually owned a horse, but when I was like 1, somebody my family knew had stables, and they were like, "This is Sam's horse," and so that was my horse.
Aw.
I have no memories of this horse, just that I owned one. Other than that, I've never owned a horse. No, to be a horse girl, as far as I'm aware, you just have to love and know far too much about horses.
I currently have 5 I asked the other day because I wasn't sure if we were at 4, 5, or 6. We have 5 currently, so.
I'm with Grape on this. Horses or animals, living things in general, too much work.
They are a lot of work, but I don't do the work part, so. I mean, if mom's not here, I have to like make sure they have water, and if it's winter time, make sure that like they have grain and stuff.
I
But
could help
my nephew does
you.
most of that, so you can come hang out with them whenever. I tell everybody that all the
I
time.
could help.
Like,
when I had
people-
horse. Go ahead.
People are fascinated by like, I have a horse, and I'm like, we live in the middle of a fucking rural town. Like, doesn't everybody have a horse? But apparently not. So people are fascinated. I'm like, well, you know, if you ever want to come hang out with my horses, you can. And they're like, but you live so far away.
Oh
I'm
my
like, "Fuck you."
god. Last week on my way home from work, I saw a guy in a horse-drawn carriage. I was like, dude, you're doing way too much. You're doing way too much. We are on.
There was no
the
horse.
street.
He was just dragging the cart behind him.
No, there was a horse, and he was in the like a carriage, like a horse-drawn carriage.
So I don't agree that in order to be a horse, or what is considered a horse girl, that you have to muck stables and do all of that, because not all horse girls have a farm or horses. I am trained to muck
I think
stables.
horse
and
girl is
tack
more of a
horses,
state of
so,
mind.
Yeah.
It's a being.
Also,
It's a vibe.
most people who are like super fancy with their horses and like love their horses so much
They
are
pay
people
other
who
people.
have lots of money and they pay other people to do that. So
Yeah. So when I like took horse riding lessons, the lady that I learned from said that she felt it was very important that if you learn to ride a horse, you also learn how to take care of a horse, which is the only reason I know how to do all of that, because I have never actually had to do all of that, but I know how. I'm not sure how I'd feel about the fermented merit. No, I don't want to drink much milk outside of cow's milk, because I have tried other milks and just I don't like most of them.
I don't ever just drink milk ever.
Ugh,
Like
I do.
I mean, that's fair too. I
it's
don't.
like
I don't
I'll
drink it
make
straight.
things with it. Like I mean I eat
Like
it's
hot
not that I
cocoa?
but I make my hot cocoa with water. Basic.
Oh,
Um
make my cocoa with milk.
I will like I eat cheese. Cheese is an entire food group for me. But just I don't know, drinking milk is so weird to me. So
I like milk when I have sandwiches.
What kind of sandwiches? Just like turkey sandwiches?
No, we do like topless sandwiches in a way. So there's just like the bottom bread, and then you do like some kind of spread or like some kind of meat or jam or whatever.
I think milk is only acceptable with like cereal, oatmeal, and peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Otherwise, I'm not drinking milk. What am I, an infant? No, I'm not doing that.
Yes, you are.
I do eat like milk with cereal.
And cookies. Duh, cookies.
We
Yeah, but I
primarily
don't drink the milk that's left over. Like I'll dip cookies in milk and eat the cookie, but I'm not drinking the milk.
So
I'm weird.
the milk we buy is primarily for the kids or for cooking. But my oldest doesn't really like to drink milk by himself, but I started buying these they're called magic straws. And they've got these little Dippin' Dots looking things in them. And as you drink, the milk gets sucked up the straw and dissolves the little Dippin' Dots, and that's how it flavors it. And they actually work really, really well. And that's like my oldest, who would not really drink milk before then, now he goes through those straws, and I'm like, well, it gets him to drink milk because he needs it. I don't, but he do.
Yeah, like small bread. Also, almost how you spell it. Close but no cigar, Lexi.
You need the little thingies above the O, right?
There's a fancy letter in there somewhere.
For the broad, above the broad, there should be a little thingy above the O.
Open sandwich is what Google tells me it's called in Englishiya.
Englishiya? Okay.
Slowly.
Yeah, the line through it.
line through the O. Wow. Are your kids yelling at each other?
No,
Okay.
they're loud, but they're not yelling. My oldest voice just carries really well.
Okay.
The second one.
The second one.
That word does not look familiar to me, Justin. Only the first one did.
This one doesn't look word.
Smörgåsbord is Swedish.
Okay,
It's a
that's why.
smorgasbord.
Yeah, smörgåsbord.
I knew the English equivalent. At least I was pretty sure I did.
It's when you make a whole bunch of food.
Yes.
It's like a accoutrement, but for food.
That's it. Why are you
Nice
chasing
circle back
children?
there.
I like to circle back. We weren't live then, so no one else
okay.
knows the circle, but you know.
I don't want a sandwich.
I do not.
I love bread.
Yeah. It's because we're weird and we like to steal words from other languages. Which is rude.
All right.
But you know.
What is a smörgåsbord?
A food party.
Basically, yes.
Oh, we call it something else in Norwegian.
Like a banquet.
Call it a cold table.
I just
Even though
always
you can
thought of
serve
it
warm
as
food at it.
a shit ton.
Shit.
Yeah, a shit ton of food. A smorgasbord. Lots of options. It's would you say that perhaps people use smorgasbord rather than charcuterie because we can't say charcuterie properly? This is not the proper way to say it, by the way. I'm not saying it correctly. It's French and it's hard and I can't get the vowels out.
Charcuterie is different though, isn't it?
Yeah, those are.
Um,
Because
Isn't that just the salt meat and the
chartreuse-
crackers?
chartreuse or charcuterie, I forgot how to say it. Either way, the charboard is it's like specifically crackers and little slices of meat or nuts or stuff, just like finger foods that you don't have to cook. And a smorgasbord could be
all the things.
anything. Just technically, we
shit
have a
ton of it.
smorgasbord. Yeah, technically, we have a smorgasbord for Christmas and Thanksgiving.
So what you're saying is if I have a taco party with like burritos and tacos and salads and dips and chips and things, it could be a smorgasbord, but it would not be a charcuterie.
So
Speaking of
far as my
smorgasbord,
understanding, yes.
Do you
Thank
know what
you,
I've
Regina.
seen that has kind of upset me?
What has upset you?
I've seen, I don't know why I get it, because it's not my vibe, but a lot of like,
What?
what's that big football game thing called in England? In
in
England? You're
England?
not in England, in America?
The Super Bowl?
Yes, that's the one.
Okay. I was like, a stadium?
No, but people do like, they just put aluminum foil on a table and they just
Oh, I fucking
Put, like,
hate that.
a lot of meat in the middle
Ooh.
and just like salsa and dips are on the edges, like on the table, not even on plates or in bowls. And I'm like, wow, American culture is weird.
That is some
They-
white people shit, bro.
It
Yeah,
is some
that
white
upsets
people
me.
shit.
It upsets me.
I have
I
seen
know
some
it shouldn't.
things.
It has no impact on my life, but I'm like, every time I see it, I'm like, report that.
It's like a whole buffet table of just like build your own nachos and stuff.
Yeah, they
no,
just dump
No.
it on the table. I'm like,
no. But
Stressful.
also,
I
But
am very
also,
stressed.
night
Stressed and
not.
pressed.
I don't
Can't-
know that
I
it's a
don't wanna
white
think about
person
cleaning
thing,
it
but
up.
they do like crab boils and stuff too. Clam bakes, crab boils, whatever you want to call it, where they like put newspapers down on a table and just have like boiled corn and potatoes and seafood things with shells that I can't eat because I'll die. And just like you eat it off of the newspaper.
Yeah, no, I don't think that's what people think. I think that's a southern thing? Question mark?
That would
More
be
southern,
farther south
Like
than me.
Louisiana southern.
Possibly. They're special in Louisiana.
It's weird. It's
I
real
mean, that
weird.
in
different.
multiple ways.
Like people make special tables that have like holes cut into them for like the shells for you to throw the shells away. So like
Oh,
I
like
guess
a
you
glory
just-
hole, but for food. Interesting.
Right. And I guess you just
Yeah.
like stand at the table and eat over top of the table where other people are going to pick food up from to eat. I have questions. Also, Grape, I did also hear you say charcuterie correctly.
Ooh, can you
Thank
say
you.
it again?
No.
Oh, I
There's
didn't
like,
hear
there's
it.
too much pressure now.
I'm taking French lessons, but they haven't got to charcuterie yet.
Can you use it in a
I need to see
sentence?
how it's spelled.
Je m'appelle charcuterie.
Your name is charcuterie?
Yeah. J'habite à Norvège. Oui, oui, baguette, Eiffel Tower.
Oh God, I really hate the French language. It just makes me irrationally angry.
Really?
Sweet.
Yeah, I don't like it.
No,
I like to
charcuterie
say
is
it, but only
awesome.
like in an ironic way, which is also always how it starts. But
Listen, my life goal is to run away and live in France, so I'm learning French for real.
I
I want to learn
only knew.
Spanish.
I have only ever known enough French to help some French tourists when they pulled over at Disney while we were waiting for our friends to get there. Because like Disney has this just road that leads into the parking lot, so we like pulled off on the side waiting for our friends to like meet up with us, and these French tourists just stopped beside us, and we were like, "The fuck." And then they get out and they start asking questions, and Chris looks over at me, and I'm like, I'm like, bonjour, and then like we started exchanging things, and I got to help them find whatever they were looking for, and that is my proudest moment. I no longer remember that much French, but at one point in my life I did. Now I've been taking Norse and Spanish very slowly.
Norse for the win.
Spanish for the win. One of my goals in the new year is to like really get better at, or like really dedicate more time to my language learning goals.
Yeah, my like 2021 was semi-robbed from me because my migraines got so fucking bad. So like all my 2022 goals are basically just what I was going to do in 2021 anyway. Which reminds me, I need to call for a shot refill.
I'm very slowly taking French lessons. Like I was doing really good, and then I stopped for like 6 months. And so I'm having to like restart again, and I'm on like week 3 of my restart. I'm doing Duolingo because I'm fancy.
I too will
like
be doing Duolingo.
I'm not even to checkpoint 1 yet, so like I'm doing great.
My problem is that I will do Duolingo for like 3 days and I'll do it really intensely and then I'll forget about it. It's the undiagnosed ADHD. But I think I need someone else to speak to me in my target language so that I can be good at it.
So one of the strategies that I've heard and that I'm going to like try out is like you do a lesson system like Duolingo, even if it's not Duolingo, but you only do like 10 minutes, like 1 or 2 lessons a day. And then you start watching like TV series you've already seen, but you will enjoy rewatching, and in the language that you're trying to learn, because you already know what they're supposed to be saying, or you like already have a rough idea of what's going on, and it helps you be immersive without having to talk to other people. But then also, if you can find somebody else to talk to you, which Duolingo has like a area where you can find people, that will help too. But like for people who don't have the resources to find anybody who speaks it natively, that can help at least learn it by more conversationally by ear.
There's a book series that I read as a child that is on the shirt that I'm wearing currently. You see part of it. But I plan to read in French and listen to the audiobooks in French because I have read them over a dozen times. So I feel like I know them well enough to like immerse myself into the French version.
Gee, I wonder what this mysterious unnamed children's series could be.
Right, I just showed you the entire symbol. It's fine.
It's
I'm
okay.
not
I had
much
it
of
tattooed
a
on my body.
rereader or a rewatcher, so like that doesn't work for me. I can't do that in English, let alone in a different language.
Have you tried listening to the stories on Duolingo?
No.
There's stories on Duolingo?
They had stories.
Yeah,
I
they
know
do
they have
now.
a podcast, but I don't know about
They
stories.
have like if you have the app, like the second little icon at the bottom over is a little book, and they have stories. And so there's like different little stories in there that you can listen to. I don't
The
know.
owls for the next few days. It's going to be like, oh, Sam, you clicked on the app.
I
Yeah.
feel like they
I just
have-
love how menacing the owl is when, like, it's been 3 days since you learned Spanish. Great, time to open that book or I'll kill your entire family.
That owl's intense. No,
at
no.
like 11 o'clock, I start getting messages like, you haven't taken your lesson today.
Oh, I
Jeez,
love
don't
the
take
ones that
your
are like,
lesson.
oh, I guess our messages haven't been working, so fuck you.
Right.
Yeah.
Uh,
But if we're
we
both
have
learning Spanish in
45
the new year,
minutes.
great, we could just practice with each other.
I would be willing to join some sort of practice group for Spanish.
Let's
Oh,
do a
yeah.
Spanish stream. Let's that be like the Christmas stream of 2022, just in Spanish.
If not, I'll have Chris sitting right here correcting everything I say. Because like the main reason I want to learn Spanish is my mother-in-law primarily, like that's her first language and the one she prefers to talk in, and I want the kids to also learn Spanish. So, but Chris does not use Spanish frequently. He started more now, but
I just need to learn a second language. Or a third, I guess.
like, yeah, you
Yes.
sure do. Oh gosh. Well, and that's the thing is like, because you're not an English native speaker, you live in a country that is a non-English native speaker, you consider yourself to only know one language because like they all learn English, which is great for you, but we're stupid and we don't like, we should universally be taught a second language from a young age. And it should be Spanish because we are so
I think
heavily Spanishly influenced.
I think that should actually depend on what region you're in, because in some parts of the South, Creole is more prevalent than Spanish.
That's true. But I mean, like in most of the United States, Spanish is probably the most helpful, I would say. Like in 75% of the United States.
Possibly.
I mean, I live in Ohio and Spanish would be the most helpful for me.
Okay.
Like, I'm nowhere near anywhere that actually culturally speaks Spanish, but it would be most helpful in my region as well because we have a lot of people here who speak Spanish. So, but yeah, I feel like we should be taught a second language when we're younger, when it's easier to learn. Other countries, they just teach their kids English because they're like, well, we want you to be smarter than everyone else, so have a second
It
language.
is kind of weird because I really don't.
Extracurricular activity.
I really don't consider myself bilingual because it's just like English isn't a real language. It doesn't matter. It doesn't count.
It
And
really
it's because
doesn't.
it's because
a real
like, when you're multilingual, it's like it's kind of like a flex. Like being multilingual is a flex, but because everyone that you know probably also speaks English, like it's just normal for you. So I'm assuming.
Yes.
So
giant
here's
assumptions.
here's the thing with English though. Like English, like all other languages, we have different dialects and stuff. And like Native American English speakers can't go to England and automatically understand everybody. There are large gaps, and one of the language barriers for that is words that are the same word but do not mean the same thing.
Yeah.
Like I think pants is different in England. Like
Yeah.
what we call pants is not what they are
Oh.
referring to with pants.
Our
Biscuit,
pants.
cookies, those are different.
Our pants are their panties.
Yeah, basically. So like we're talking about I'm gonna put my pants on. They're like, why don't you get your underwear on? I didn't need to know that.
Right. Why you not wearing your underoos? I'm gonna need you to put those on. That's kind of weird. Like
And
no,
a lot
like
of like
they're
a lot of
trousers.
tourists, they've got fanny packs, and in England that's a vulgar term.
Because your fanny packs where you keep your downstairs kitty cat.
Your cooter.
Exactly.
Let me tell you, speaking of this is like off topic but on topic again. So apparently a southern term for vagina is coochie or hoochie coochie, And I didn't know that as a small child. And one of my favorite Alan Jackson songs is Way Down Yonder on the Chattanooga. It gets hotter than a hoochie coochie. And I did not understand that line for the vast majority of my childhood. And then as a teenager, I learned, and I was like,
you're just screaming it at the top of your lungs as an 8-year-old. And then one day you're like,
to this day, but now.
And one day you're like, it's as hot as a what now? What did he say? They let him put that on American radio stations.
Sir, now.
All right, then. Oh, gosh.
One of my
Another word for vagina, coincidentally.
What is it? Wait, what?
Just said gash.
Oh,
I didn't know
that's a lesser, a
That's
more
a-
severe one. But yeah,
I mean, it's no
I've heard
hoochie
that.
coochie, I'll admit, but
Yeah.
ranking the words. Nice. OMG, I heard coochie. Oh my. I heard hoochie most of my life, but that was separate. That was a separate term.
Yeah.
Hoochie's a
Hoochie
whole
is a
different
person.
Related.
Hoochie's a person who shares her coochie with lots of people. Just saying. But you know,
But yeah, so that's just
sorry.
it's one of those things where it's like I would, no matter where you're traveling, even if you think you speak the language, definitely look up common terms and phrases, and if there's any that commonly get fucked up, because I do know Spanish has a few of those too, depending on which region of Spanish we're talking about.
the only
I mean-
Spanish I know is cuatro cerveza, por favor, and that's got me where I need to be, so.
More beer, please.
Oh, okay. I was
think it's
trying to
3.
figure out cerveza.
Oh, yeah.
Four? Did you say
Those
four?
four.
Cuatro's 4.
Yeah, cuatro, okay, then 4.
Yeah, so 4.
We always say uno cerveza, por favor, which is one beer, please. But yes, the same. Also, donde está el baño? Where's the bathroom?
And just basically anything I've learned from Dora the Explorer.
Except, why is it that when she finds something that she's looking for, she says delicious? Can someone explain that to me? Because like,
Delicioso.
delicioso, and I'm like, what about finding your backpack was delicious? I am so concerned for you. I need help.
I highly recommend Caso Cerrado, the like Judge Judy of Latin America.
I know what you're talking about.
It's terrible, but
Okay.
it's so good. It's so good.
Okay, here for it.
And
That
she has a
reminds
little
me-
theme song. Oh, she eats every time.
I mean, it's not necessarily like when she
Oh.
finds the backpack, but I mean, like when they're like, say they're like on their mission is to like find a purple bunny at the palace of Cassandra. I don't know who any of these people are. And like they get to the palace and they find a purple bunny and they're like, we did it. That's delicioso. And I'm like, you did it, delicious. All right, I'm confused, but okay. You do you, boo. I don't understand. I need help. I have so many questions.
So when we lived with Chris's parents for a little while, his mom was watching some telenovelas, and I was just sitting in the living room watching one with her one day. And it was pretty easy to keep up with, as they are really not that much different from American soap operas. And she was just like, do you know what's going on? And I'm like, well, yeah, like those two are twins, and I'm pretty sure that one's evil and going to steal a baby. And she's like, she's like, you speak Spanish? And I'm like, I do not. I speak like 4 words. And she's like, well, then how do you know what's going on? And I'm like, it's the context, not really different. I've seen enough soap
The
operas.
tropes are all the same
They're all the same.
across language.
And then she was just very impressed by my ability to keep up with the telenovela.
I definitely will never say that I speak Spanish because my language skills are very low, but I know enough Spanish words, like because I took 4 years of Spanish, so like it's all in here. So like if I could hear someone having a conversation, I can usually like guess the context of the conversation, but I'm never gonna get
That's-
like every word or be able to say anything. I mean, I can
That's
say
where
a few
I
things
am with
back to
his
you.
mom. Sometimes when he's on the phone with his mom and she's on speakerphone, I can like guess the context of what's going on, but I can't like
Yeah.
reproduce.
Like, I heard enough words to piece together kind of what the conversation is, but also I have no clue what you're talking about.
That's me eavesdropping on my Spanish coworkers.
Bless you, child. Bless you. The perverts are coming after you, Stig. You sneezed on stream.
Ooh. Gesundheit.
My problem is that there are so many, like, I don't want to use the word variations, but like so many different regional dialects. Like in elementary, middle school, in middle school, I took Spanish class from a Panamanian teacher, and then in college, my teachers were, one was Puerto Rican and the other one was like a white lady who went to Spain. And then, but like growing up all my life, but growing up around people, I was mainly around like Mexican Americans. So there's just so many different variations. I'm like, okay, which one do I focus on and learn that version of Spanish of?
I feel you.
Yeah.
My most extraneous part of learning another language is, how do I decide? No, how did anyone decide what the gender of a lampshade is?
Yes.
Like, why do they all have genders? Why do I have to use specific forms of a
I think
or the
that's
or
only
whatever?
for the Latin-based languages.
French is the
I
same
could be
way.
wrong.
No,
Latin
German has
based?
genders too.
Yeah.
Okay, that
Yeah,
one.
there's
not
no
Latin
reason.
based. My bad.
Yeah, the
But yeah,
Romance
like-
languages are all gendered.
Mm.
But I'm like, why? First off, who decided what
But I
gender this
don't know
lampshade
about
was?
Germanic languages.
And why am I? How am I supposed to remember what the gender of a lampshade is? It's a lampshade. It does not have. It does not have a gender.
Does not have genitals.
It's a lamp. Well, genitals don't necessarily mean gender, but still, like it.
I think this is another like culinary
Why?
biology moment. Like, yes, words have genders, but no, they're not sexual genders. The linguistic genders.
To be fair, I think linguistic wise, it was just like masculine, feminine, not specifically male, female. So it's like
True, but
they
like,
consider
what
these
makes?
We have
things
three in
more.
Norwegian.
Look, I'm
Not to
not.
brag, but
I'm not saying I agree or understand it. I'm just.
I just need to know how we decided that a lampshade was either masculine or feminine. Because first off, I need to know how
I mean,
you.
have you seen a
decided
lampshade?
this.
That's obviously a boob.
That's a
Limited
lampshade.
edition IKEA lampshade.
Is it
Yes.
phallic or not phallic? That's how we decided.
Why is
Okay.
everything just not neutral?
Is
the
this
question.
pumpkin
There is in Germanic
masculine
languages.
or feminine?
I don't
That's-
like playing.
Is that a pin?
Yeah, it's a brooch.
He's gonna say
band thing.
masculine.
In Norwegian, it would be masculine.
Motherfuck.
But what about a pumpkin? Would a pumpkin be masculine?
That would be non-binary in Norwegian.
You have that.
Neutral. Okay.
Neutral, yes. We have masculine, feminine, and neutral.
All right then.
Yeah, I was.
And German has a
about to
fourth
say.
gender. Not to confuse you, but
Wait, I thought it was one of the three.
No. It says that. Well, from what I just looked up, it says Germanic languages display strong variation. Some retain 3 abnominal genders, some have 4, and some have 2. There's others reduce the system to 2, usually a merger of masculine and feminine. So
When I was learning German, it was only 3.
let's see. How many genders in German language? It is 3. Why did I think you had 4 genders? Did I even learn gender? Did I even learn German?
oh.
Unlearned gender.
Are you searching the internet in English?
Yes. Is that weird?
No.
I don't know.
I don't think I've ever Googled something in Norwegian.
I think it's
Do you-
not weird because you spend most of your free time in English.
That is fair.
I honestly, I don't know. That's why I'm like, Just curious. See, this is me trying to learn, like, what's the life of a person who speaks and lives in a place where they use more than one language, because I don't have that. Like,
I do all my notes in my notes app in English, even if they pertain to Norwegian problems. My Christmas shopping list was in English.
I have
I
no
don't
idea
know what
it is.
that is, but it sounds tasty.
You
Honey,
said
what's
the
a
word-
calabacita?
You said the word cheese
Yeah,
dia.
calabacita. Don't shrug at me.
Is it?
This person said, love me some calabacitas and a quesadilla.
Zucchini?
They said squash blossoms.
Squish squash.
Is zucchini not a squash?
Oh, I wasn't saying. Oh, sorry, I wasn't correcting you. I was informing my husband what they said.
I was just asking.
Okay.
I got nothing. I wonder if it's a vegetable or a fruit.
See,
Very.
speaking of Spanish and dialects, my husband is Nicaraguan, so sometimes I'm like, "What is this Spanish thing?" And he's like, "I don't fucking know," and I'm like, "Stay away! I need things." Yeah, zucchini is a squash.
Pumpkin
I
is
wasn't
also a
sure.
squash and a berry.
I'm having a migraine right now, so all access to my formal memory is gone.
That's fair.
We just have your informal memory.
Yes, which is, I don't know, stuff.
I don't have a memory, formal or otherwise. Do, 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 do,
I really want to make some
do,
food
do,
now for some reason.
do.
Regina says your schools actually start teaching kids English so early. Y'all are bilingual, Steve.
Yeah, I think we started in like first grade.
That's when they started teaching my kids English.
You're not wrong. I feel like there should be a second language taught in American schools.
Oh, I agree.
Why can we
But
not have that?
there are some like specialty schools that are
Mhm.
considered, well, at least in Georgia, I know there are some specialty schools that are considered public schools that do the dual language thing.
We don't have any in my town yet, but I have heard of these and people want more of them. We're
Yeah.
still just trying to build up to a regular number of actual schools. Like we've got 20 when I started school, we had like 3 elementary schools, 3 middle schools, and I think 4 high schools, at least that I can remember. And now we've got like 20 elementary schools,
Yay.
5 middle schools, still only 4 high schools. So because like that's why they brought the lottery to Tennessee, because when they were like, hey, let's bring the lottery to Tennessee, the Bible Belt people were like, no, gambling is a sin. And then they're like, we'll use the money for the school system. And they're like, we'll let people go to hell for the children. And so they brought the lottery to here. And they actually did. They've used a lot of the money for the school system. So our school system has gotten a lot better. So, and I mean, it wasn't bad when I was in elementary school. So it's gotten a lot even better. And there's just more. So maybe one day we will have those specialty schools. But right now we just need more middle schools.
I definitely grew up in a place of crappy schools, so living the dream.
We were talking about, I don't remember if it was on stream or if it was in a call, but we were talking about like sex education in schools, and Tabby and I were comparing, because I'm 5 years older than her. So by the time she started high school, I was out. And so we were just like comparing that to what some of our friends learned in school. And we were like, yeah, we had like whole ass lessons. There were diagrams, there were charts. They told us where we could go to get pregnancy tests and condoms without our parents knowing. Like they were like, abstinence isn't gonna work for some of y'all, so just be safe. And it's like there are some places in the South where they're not even legally allowed to demonstrate a condom with a banana. So it's like we definitely had a really good school system and all of that kind of education. So
think that was Monday's live stream with me, you, and Cody.
Yeah, might have been.
I think it was. But yeah, we definitely didn't have that varied education. We had abstinence is the only form of safe sex, and if you have sex before you're married, you'll burn in hell and die. This was in 2005 because we didn't have sex education until our senior year of high school.
Oh, we had they started ours in middle school.
I think I had like a so-so like version of sex ed. We had like the repercussions, pregnancy and STDs, and then a whole semester on like Lorenzo's oil.
We had, which I think it like what really peeved me off is that they did it in government class, which government and history classes were always my favorite. And like those are the ones that they took time out of to do things like sex ed. And we used to have to do the 9th grade proficiency test. Sam, you probably had that as well. I think Devesha probably was the 10th grade test, maybe.
I'm trying to figure out what's the 9th grade proficiency test, because ours might have been a different name, but that doesn't sound familiar.
I can't remember. And they changed it. Like we were allowed to take our 9th grade test in 8th grade to pass. And like you had to pass that in order to graduate. I passed it in 8th grade, which means I should not have had to have gone to high school, in my opinion, because what was high school for at that point? Like
I don't think I ever had a proficiency test.
I definitely did have one. It was in like 10th grade though. Like
yeah, I think it was like 2 or 3 years after I graduated, they changed it to a 10th grade test instead of a 9th grade test. And it was national. So there should have been something that you took, Sam, but I can't think of what it was called because I've been out of high school for so long. But like my senior year of school, like there were still kids trying to pass this test. And they
TCAP.
I still had to like sit through the lessons on how to take this test. And I'm like, I passed it 5 years ago. Can I learn something new now? Thank you. But anyway, our sex ed class was like, these are all the STDs you can get. And also condoms don't work no matter how you use them. They're really just like a marketing ploy for people to sell things to make more money. And also you should not have sex until you're married or you'll go to hell and die.
That feels illegal.
That was legally what they were allowed to teach us.
So funnily enough, depending on what state you live in, the opposite is illegal. And that's the legal lessons they're allowed to teach.
Bye, Lexi.
Bye.
Oops, caps lock on.
Thank you for
Sorry.
joining us. No, you just look like you're being that mean.
But yeah, that's my life, y'all. Living the whitest white girl in Ohio life.
So, yeah, the proficiency test was called something different in every state, and they never explained it to us as a proficiency test. It was just our TCAP. So, and
ours was
Florida's
literally
was the FCAT.
Ours was literally just called the 9th grade proficiency test.
Oh no,
that we took in 8th grade, and I passed at 8th grade.
See, we take the TCAPs once or like 3 times, I think. So that was the other thing that confused me. I was like, I don't remember taking a singular test in high school that told me if I failed, I could not graduate. That was definitely not how it was explained to us.
I think ours was just called like a graduation test, something basic like that.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of what they changed it to because I know Brittany had to take it, but I can't think of what it was changed to. But basically, they like you have to have all of this knowledge before you can graduate high school and like move on to college. And I'm like, but I did that when I was like 13. So can I do something new now?
Oh,
But
bye,
no.
Regina.
Bye, Regina.
So it's the TCAP. There's a writing test, a competency test, the gateway test, and end of course test. That's the amounts that we take.
It's probably different now than what it was before too.
No, this is what they did when I was younger.
Yeah.
Like, okay, and then like this is the test that I took. And yeah, they did it in first or second grade. Right now they do second grade. I don't remember what they did for me. And then they also, I remember, I think we took it 7th grade, and then we also took it in 11th, 10th or 11th. That's how we did it.
Yeah. I think there's like a basis of what this, like what information every like student has to learn, but I think different states give it to you at different times.
Yeah, but they do say that if students who fail one of the gateway tests are eligible to retake the test until they achieved the passing score. So even if you fail,
Yeah.
they'll just let you take it however many times.
Yeah,
But
you have to keep taking it every year until you pass it. And you have 2 chances to pass it your last year in school. And
yeah,
I'm like,
but
how dumb are
they
these
get it
people?
Very.
You ended them. Bring me my Switch.
I mean, I'm just saying, like,
Yeah.
I'm not smart, and I passed it when I was 13. So, like, how stupid are these people that have had to take it 12 times?
They could be bad test takers.
They could
I was.
be.
If,
I'm a
if,
bad
you
test
gave,
taker.
Undiagnosed.
if you gave me a computerized test, I would not be able to pass it.
This is my
But
largest
I'd do
complaint.
paper test.
My largest complaint with these tests to this day, if they're still taking them on paper, I don't know that they do, but like you were not allowed to have a calculator. You were not allowed to have, because we had a math test as well. There was like a math, a science, a reading, a comprehension. There was another one, but I don't remember what it was. It's like you weren't allowed to have a calculator. You weren't allowed to have any notes. You weren't allowed to have anything with you other than one piece of paper for you to do like scratch math problems on. So you had to know all this information off the top of your head. But before you take the test, the first hour is you getting there and them instructing you on the proper way to fill in the bubbles so that Scantron can read your answers. So they have to spend an hour to teach you how to fill in a fucking oval with a pencil. But you have to be able to answer these 600 questions in this amount of time correctly with knowledge inside your brain.
They only spent like 10 minutes reminding us to do that.
We literally spent hours.
No, I believe you. I'm just sharing.
Right. Like, how stupid do they think these people are? It's hard. It's just like, how do you expect me to not know how to fill in a circle with a pencil, but expect to know the square root of 1,483 off the top of my head? I have a lot of feelings, clearly.
And all of your feelings are very valid.
Yes.
And angry.
Yes. If I had,
Valid.
if they had spent an hour instructing us on how to fill in a bubble, I would be very angry too.
Well, and it was like, it wasn't just that test. Like anytime we took any kind of a test that had like, that was read by Scantron, which is basically like the machine they just send those things through for anybody that doesn't know, because you might be young enough to have taken like computer tests. When you took it on paper,
American.
or that, but like you fill in these little bubbles, like it's like A through D or E or whatever, and you like fill in these little ovals, and that's how you answer the question. You have like an answer paper and like the test booklet, and so they send it through Scantron. So anytime we took it, like we probably had 4 or 5 of those tests a year that went through a Scantron. And yet every single time we took it, the first hour of the day was fill in your name. If your name is longer than the spots open for you, don't continue to try to squeeze things in. 1 letter per box. My name was always too long. 1 letter per box, and if you run out of boxes, then you just don't put the rest of your name on there, and you have to fill in these bubbles, and you have to, and then they would like draw examples on the chalkboard of how to correctly fill in the bubble, and like literally an hour every single time.
So Stig, you guys didn't have Scantrons? Like someone was grading them by hand?
I guess.
Most of our tests were Scantrons.
We never took
didn't
multiple
actually-
tests though, multiple choice tests.
Oh.
Oh, well, yes. Scantrons don't work if it's not multiple choice.
We did have something similar. We had national tests, and it was like reading comprehension, mathematics, and English.
Yeah.
And then there's like a national registry where you can see where your school scores.
Mhm.
We were like in the mid-tier.
Well, now they use those test results to decide which schools get money from the government, and the schools that get better grades get more money. Make that make sense.
It doesn't make sense, but then there's a lot of things about the American school system that doesn't make sense.
Well, and that's why they take whole class. I could not raise, Sam, you are a goddess. I could not raise a child in today's school system in the United States. I couldn't do it because I would just like lose my shit. They put so much pressure on these kids to pass these tests because
So hold on. My school system does not. The school system that my children go to, they don't pressure the kids. They don't use those sort of grading things. What they do is they focus on individual child progress. And so as long as the kids are improving and they are reaching where they should be or are where they should be for their grade level, that's all that they care about. I only have elementary school kids, so I can only speak to elementary school in my system. But their school also does fundraisers 3 or 4 times a year. They raise money so that the following school year, every child's breakfast is paid for. Kids on low income will also have their field trips and supplies paid for, so the school fees are taken care of. And like, yeah, my school system is actually great, so it's
yeah.
not that.
I'm going based off of the knowledge of like my nieces and nephews and the different
That's
schools that
fine.
they go to in
I'm
the
just
area that we live in.
saying. I'm just
Yeah.
like, I'm not a saint. I'm not in a terrible position. That's all I was saying. Is like,
well, first
like
off, you have 3 children. You are a saint. So, in my opinion, because
all right, I'll
children,
accept that.
I mean, but yeah, like they do put at least in our area, and it's I don't know if it's because we're like a lower income area or if I don't know what the reason is, but I know like my nieces and nephews have said that they have a lot of pressure put on them to pass these tests and to get really good grades on them because they know, like the teachers tell them, like if you don't get good grades on these tests, our school won't get any money from the government and we won't be able to afford like your after school activities and this, that, and the other, and all this stuff's going to get canceled.
I think part of it is that our school system doesn't rely on the money from the government. It's a public school system, but because of the way the lottery set the schools up, they wanted to set them up to be self-sufficient so that our school system isn't reliant on the whims of the government or even our state mayor, to be fair. At least the ones in our city. That's why they do the fundraisers and everything, so they don't have to worry about all of that. And we're in a mixed income area. So some of us are very low income, some of us are middle, and then I think all the high income area is actually the other side of town. But yeah. So.
Oh, bye, Em.
Hi, Emmy.
Hi, Emmy.
Bye, Emmy. Put stuff on Instagram about these Legos.
We need to see the Lego.
Yeah.
Lego my ego. I need a snack.
I need a bathroom break, so I will be right back.
We'll see you soon.
I think I need to go to bed.
I know. I'm like, I need to go back to The Witcher. I need to have some witching time.
My only complaint about season 2 is that A, there's not enough shirtless scenes of Henry Cavill, and 2, there's not enough Jaskier.
Okay, but
Is it
my thing is
Jaskier or
like,
Jaskier?
I
think
say
it's-
Jaskier, but it might be Jaskier.
I'm not sure.
English
I
is
haven't
my
seen
first
him yet
language,
this
as we have established. So
We have established that. I'm okay with there not being as many shirtless scenes of Henry Cavill.
Because you're demisexual.
Well, also that,
what?
yes, but but girl still gets thirsty, because it's weird. It's a weird life to live. But also like I can go back and watch the first season if I want to. Like it's not the end of the
that
world.
bathing scene in the bathtub, yes.
But I also understand like where he's coming from because he has said that like he feels like opening himself up to be that exposed on the TV show. He said that like part of that makes people feel like they have a right to his life. Like being exposed physically means that he's exposing himself to people's opinions and viewpoints or whatever. But like basically just saying that people are shit and people feel like they have the right to have opinions
He's
on his
living
life.
the
And
life of a woman, yes.
yeah, basically.
I was about to
And
say.
so for him to choose, well, but I, as a woman, I agree. And if he chooses to pull
I know.
back from that, then good for him. Like, good for him.
Bad for me though.
I mean, bad for Stig, but good for him. I
It's a double-edged blade.
appreciate that people are realizing that men, not all men, but some men are definitely given the same treatment that women are. And again, not all women, some women, not all of them. But I oh my God, am I being like the not all men woman here? Oh my God.
Yes.
My
I
issue with Henry Cavill is that when the Me Too movement came out, he was one of the people who criticized it because now he felt uncomfortable flirting with women because he felt that he would be called out or that like it just wasn't safe to flirt with women. And I side eye most men who took that stance because it should be a very obvious line and not confusing. So the fact that he took that stance and then he's now like, I feel super exposed, I'm just like, well, now you understand. That's all.
did not know he had that feeling.
Mhm.
I missed that part of the memo.
Yeah. But like, I mean, if he's learning from it and he's improving, then I want it known that I don't think anybody should be objectified, and I don't think like I'm in agreement that shouldn't happen,
Yeah.
and he doesn't deserve it. It's just one of those things where it's like, oh, well, good. Hopefully, you learn from this now. You know.
I just
So, like,
appreciate that people realize that, like, I went to see Magic Mike once upon a time. I took a friend for her birthday because that is not my jam. But I took a friend to see Magic Mike for her birthday, and there
Mhm.
was like an entire crowd full of these middle-aged white women
oh
who
yeah,
were
women are
losing
thirsty.
their
Women
fucking shit.
when it comes to objectification, women can be just as bad as men. But like
Yeah.
structurally, society makes it easier for women to be objectified, even in instances where it's not, and it's more forgiven when women are objectified. Like actresses have been saying what Henry Cavill is saying for well over
Ever.
a decade. And like it's not being listened to as much. They still have to do scenes like that or like risk their career. And he's in a position where he's like, hey, I'm uncomfortable with this and I'm just not going to do it. And he's being listened to and respected, which I like. I like that he's not being forced to do those things because nobody should be forced to do those things. It's just one of those things where it's like, would be nice if everybody was like that, you know? If everybody was listened to and
I
all of
hope
that.
that it's moving toward a trend of
That's what I hope as well.
allowing that to happen, whether you, regardless of your gender, like if you feel uncomfortable on set that things are being changed for them. But yeah, definitely women are just as thirsty as men. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
hardly ever will we ever be in a position where women are going to be, where a woman's going to be able to overpower a man. I mean, you would have to be like a big, like a lady. I don't have that power. So, you would have to. So I grasp the concept of that aspect, but also I want everyone on the planet to realize that everyone objectifies everyone.
Yeah, it's like I saw this video recently where it's like this woman, she was having a really hard time at work and everything, having the usual gender power issues. A guy came in and he got the promotion she wanted and everything, and then some sort of magic thing happened and all of the men were replaced with women. And the world wasn't really any different. It was just women were now the ones in power and objectifying and being horrible. And the point of the thing was that it doesn't matter if you switch the genders because it's the dynamic and the structure that has created it. And that's what needs to be fixed. And so it's like,
Case in point, like a million years ago when middle-aged women were objectifying 17, 18-year-old Taylor Lautner. That
Yes.
was fucking weird.
Mm-hmm. And it's also on Facebook a couple of days ago, somebody was asking like, what advice, they're like, parents, what would be the best advice you would give to moms of sons? And the advice that I gave was like teach them, like the number one advice is teach them how to cope with their emotions and teach them that their feelings are valid and how to like just have them and how to deal with them that don't result in anger. And I was like, the second thing is to learn about toxic masculinity so you don't perpetuate it and you don't put it in your child. Learn that masculinity and toxic masculinity are not the same thing. And the last piece of advice that I gave was it's like, and understand that in this world, women's issues and men's issues are not the same. We both have issues, and both issues are very important. Women's issues have a lot of people backing them, and men's issues should also have people backing them. But the problem comes when people will use men's issues to try to talk down about women's issues or to try to dismiss them. And that has made a lot of people very dismissive of men's issues. And it's like, you have to figure out how to balance that.
There's a lot of balance we all need to find.
And there's a lot of nuance to it and everything. And it's like,
why are we all so dark?
For a second, I would like to circle back to the Henry Cavill slander, and that I do not like him because I feel like he had a very inappropriately aged relationship. He had a girlfriend that was like 19 when he was in his 30s, and I just thought that was weird.
I forgot about that.
So I'm all on the Henry Cavill slander train.
Listen, I'm not trying to be his friend. I'm not trying to date him.
No, that's
real pretty to look at.
It's like, it's just one of those things where it's like, I don't try to talk down about most celebrities because I don't know them. I don't know their life. I don't know their business. But there are certain things that they have done or said publicly that I'm like, that makes me side-eye them, or that would be a red flag to somebody I know in thing. And so it's like with the Henry Cavill thing, on the one hand, I'm like, yes, I want to support him because men don't deserve that and they should be protected. And maybe it will bring, more attention and things to light with like actresses and stuff who are put in similar situations. On the other hand, I remember these things that he did. And so it's like, I'm at war with myself.
Yeah. Well, I know that when they were talking about like things that were changing from season 1 to season 2, they specifically said that they were going to be like less objectification. That was not the word they used, but like less opportunities of objectification for both men and women. And I'm like, did you watch episode 2? Because I did. There was boob everywhere.
2, so I don't know anything.
Boobs everywhere. All the boobs. Stig probably seen more boobs than he's ever seen in his entire life in that one episode.
I'm a nurse, Jess. I don't know what you're going to do, but I've probably seen more boobs than all three of you together.
You've probably seen more boobs in that episode than you've seen in your entire life.
Hey, I
It's a
see
lot of
boobs every single day.
And yeah,
Me
I can
too.
still see more than you, Grape, so you do the math. Some days, I see like 5 pairs of boobs. That's my life.
But I see the same pair of boobs every single day. So what is greater in the scale?
That is very
I
fair.
thought we were talking quantity. So you would actually have a great disadvantage because it's the same too.
It's the same pair every day. I think. I don't know what you're doing over there.
But it's like every single day as opposed to like 3 boobs a week,
I mean, you're not wrong. I'm just saying there were a lot of boobs in that episode. So on one hand, while I'm like, I get it. On the other hand, I'm like, there was like 20 girls showing boobs. So there was a lot of boobs.
See, that's where it comes. See, that's where part like the cynic in me comes out, because it's like, oh, you felt objectified. What about your coworkers? What about all them titties? Like, you could take this moment to self-reflect and be like, I was objectified and I hated it, and I hated how strangers made me feel, which is valid, and we support that. But he could have also just been like, and I understand that like my coworkers or my co-actresses probably go through similar things, so maybe not as much titty. But as
Like,
far as we know,
like, this is your show. What about the extras who are like just trying to break into the industry, who feel like they have no other choice but to?
yeah. And
Like
for
this role
anybody,
that shows
and for
tits.
anybody who wants to be like, well, we don't know that he didn't because it might have been behind the screen. He said what he said in public, he could have said more in public. He could have used his platform and his position and his privilege. So
I think
he did not.
this is going to be the weirdest thing I've ever said in my life, and I say that a lot when I'm live on the
The
internet.
bar is high.
So it's a high bar. I feel like in some instances, nakedness in TV makes sense because it's like if we were seeing the scene with our own eyes, like in real life, people would not be wearing clothes right now. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like there are scenes where you're just like, for like the cinematography aspect of it, there needed to be boob. I get it. And this was definitely one of those cases. Like the scenes that they were having was definitely like a boob prevailing scene. Like I get why it was there. But also I'm like, but do we need it? Because like I don't need to see like you could show me that scene.
I haven't
Without
seen
the
any of
boob.
season 2, so I can't speak to anything in season 2. But there, you can shoot. I know for a fact. I have seen it. You can
Bless you,
shoot
child.
a scene in which people are buck-ass naked and it not be objectified at all. They're just naked. It is just a thing
Yeah.
that has happened. And then you can shoot a scene where people are fully dressed and it is so objectifying and super sexual. The amount of clothes has very little to do with the objectification in cinematography. It is all about camera angling, the speed of which things are like left on. It's actually one of the things that I talk about a lot on when I talk about Sailor Moon Crystal versus the 90s one, because that happens there. Sailor Moon will be buck-ass naked sometimes, but in the 90s one, the camera just sort of goes, it's just on her. She just is naked. But in Crystal, they will slow pan up and they will like linger on things. There's a part where the evil bad lady is like talking and doing, and we get a slow pan from her hips all the way up to her titties as she's giving her speech. It never gets to her face. Her speech finishes before the camera gets to her collarbone and then goes to something else. And I'm like,
what the hell?
So it's like,
what was the purpose of that?
Titty. That's what
the purpose was their target demographic likes titty. Got it.
Their target demographic is women, presumably straight ones. But like, no, their target demographic isn't necessarily people who would be into, because that Sailor Moon's target demographic is girls in their teen years. So like some of them might be, but that's not like, they're not targeting LGBTQ kids specifically. Nor do I necessarily think a anime targeted to young teenage girls should be targeting.
But I feel like there's a correlation. Preteen, teen Sailor Moon stans 80% of the time end up being queer. There's a correlation there. You can't tell me otherwise.
Yes, but I mean, Sailor Uranus did give all of my queer friends that I know, they're like, Sailor Uranus was my queer awakening. Even Cody, whom is a gay man, she was his gay awakening. But that's like, that still doesn't explain why the objectification part of it, especially since like these are teens, and that directly leads to the body issues and all the psychological ish. And the 90s one didn't do that. So it's like, you're not telling me that they should, or that they didn't know better when this is the newer one. This is the one that's supposed to know better and be better. But yeah, so thank you for coming to my TED Talk on camera angling and cinematography.
And boobies.
And titties. All the titties. So many titties in Sailor Moon Crystal. You want titties? Go to Sailor Moon Crystal. Well, actually don't, because they're underage titties, but that's not the point.
I mean, if you're underage, you can go see the underage titties.
That's fair.
All the boobage.
How many underage people do you have in your audience?
None, I hope.
Probably none.
Maybe Katie's here somewhere.
Katie is an adult.
Is she
Barely,
though? Legally, yes.
Barely, but yes.
She can drink in the United States and buy cigarettes.
I guess you win. But yeah, in season 2, there's like also some male objectification.
You doing okay over there?
Oof, that was a journey. To make up for the TDs.
I mean, I can be okay with that, but
fair,
also
fair. Equal
I have
objectification.
so many. I don't have so many questions because I'm gonna go watch it and then I'm not gonna have any questions. That's what I'm doing for the rest of my night. I mean, it's like 11 p.m., but that's what I'm gonna do before bed. Like I'm gonna watch the whole thing.
Yeah, I miss like early days of Game of Thrones when there were like penises too, not just titties. Those were times.
I've never seen it, so
Early Game of Thrones was just like, what can I scandalize people with the most? All of it on camera, all the time.
Oh, sexplanation is my favorite thing about Game of Thrones. Like, you can tell me anything you want in an info dump as long as you're naked. I'm here for it.
Oh, sexplanation. Okay, I like that.
I think that's an actual term.
Exposition. I like that. one better.
Sexposition, maybe?
sex position is a whole different thing.
No,
It's
but
like
like
exposition, but sex.
sexual.
I think it's a term coined by Game of Thrones.
Split the word into two, children.
Sexpo-slition?
Sex position.
I caught on. I'm just trying to figure out if sexplanation is a term.
Well, they can info dump anything as long as there's like a penis in that. I'm good.
As long as there's naked people, Stig is there.
I'll listen to anything.
Okay.
So a sexplanation is not exposition during sex. It's something else.
What is it?
It is the act or process of explaining to the opposite sex why you want sex or why you just had sex.
Okay.
That's not. Doesn't sound as fun.
I'm gonna look up sex position and see. Okay, sex
You're gonna get Kama
position.
Sutra.
I did not actually. I got the noun in TV and film, the technique of providing exposition against a backdrop of sex or nudity. A blend of sex and exposition. Game of Thrones isn't the first cable show to use sex position, but the term was first coined to describe the show's reliance upon it. I like the definition shading Game of Thrones for it.
Some of those
Reliance.
brothel scenes just hits right.
But yeah, if we separate, if we make this into two words, it's very different meaning.
It's Kama
But-
Sutra.
But sex position is actually a term.
I could not get over the incest in order to watch Game of Thrones. I just couldn't jump past that
Same.
hurdle. So,
I don't know what any of the hurdles are. I just
There's
have
so
no
many.
interest in
so many
seeing all of the
hurdles.
naked people. So when
There were
everyone
even-
was like, "There's just
there
all
were-
kinds of naked scenes," and I'm like, "I'm out. I'm good."
There were even more hurdles for me when I found out that they changed several of the sex scenes from being consensual to being non-consensual, and I'm like, but why? Why is this a choice we made? So like, and it didn't
To
change the
scandalize people.
plot at all. It didn't. It had absolutely no effect on the plot or anything,
gross.
but had a lot of effect on me. Not even nope.
Like, what was the writers' room doing when they were like, "You know what would be fun?"
Well, there is a scene later in which one of the two of the characters have sex, and when interviewed, the actress said it was definitely a non-consensual scene. And I'm using this word so that you don't get taken down or anything.
You don't say
And-
the Drake word.
Yes, and the director and the other actor in the scene said, "No, that was totally a consensual scene. It was great." And I'm like,
Mm.
I
It's
know
just-
which scene this is. Is this the tomb scene? Or like
Yes. It was the tomb scene.
the dead son scene? Yes, that was weird.
Yeah, all of that.
But yeah, I also like how they were like, you know what this show needs, except or in addition to the incest plotline? Incest plotline number 2.
Oh God, there's more than one.
Yeah.
Same couple, I think, right?
No.
Oh, there was another. Oh no, why?
Yeah, there was the siblings, and then spoiler alert for Game of Thrones has been out. and
Oh wait,
are
are you talking about
culturally-
Danny?
Yes.
And
And then there was an aunt and nephew relationship.
Oh God, why?
I don't know. George R. R. Martin
mean-
is a white guy in his 80s. That's why.
I mean, I guess if we're being like his, oh my God, I'm gonna say this.
Don't
It's
being
Game of
dare.
Thrones. It's
Don't-
not
don't
historically
you dare.
accurate.
I'm gonna
Don't
burn
you
It's
dare.
Sam's
fantasy. He could have done
biscuits.
anything, and he
Don't
chose
you
not
burn
one,
these
but
biscuits, Jess.
two
I'm gonna
incest
burn
scenes.
Sam's biscuits
God,
and say,
no.
I'm
if
gonna
it
cancel
was
you for this, Jess.
historically accurate, I can see how they would do it, but
There's
they should not.
dragons.
Right, so it's not historically accurate. Fair. Right.
It's just a guy who I like incest.
There's
Does
dragons.
they have siblings? Let me look that up.
There's a
If it
woman
was a-
who
if
took
it was
some
a
dragon eggs into
historically-
fire and came out not burned.
If it was a historical story based off of actual historical things,
Yes, that would be different. But it is
then
not.
yes, I could understand incest plotline.
But it is 100%
But
fantasy.
it is a fantasy, therefore. Well, I mean, Sam, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna burn Sam's biscuits again. I mean, theoretically, if we have accepted in our history that it was not taboo for that to happen, could we not also accept that in someone else's history that it was not taboo for that to happen?
No, I'm going to
No.
judge them either way. I judge our history. I'm
I
just.
found
Okay.
an article.
I have
with
not
the title,
forgiven them
George
just
R. R.
'cause it
Martin's sister
happened.
feels a bit concerned about the level of incest in Game of Thrones books.
Who
Also-
does?
George R. R. Martin's sister feels a bit concerned about the level of incest
Oh,
in
God.
Game of
Should,
Thrones
you know?
books.
Oh God.
If I was her.
But to be fair, like, how good did Flowers in the Attic sell? Like, when we were, well, it was probably a little before.
Look, just because there's
Their
entire
time.
subgenres in
Their
different
time.
medias that sell well doesn't mean it's okay.
But I mean, I think that's why
Just
a
means
lot of
there's
people,
a market for it.
and that's why I think that people sell it that way. I don't know when the last time. Yeah, it sells so well, and I don't know why. And like step siblings always sells well. I'm like, what kind of weird fantasy world are y'all in? Like, I don't want to be with my step sibling.
I
thank
feel
you.
bad for some step siblings, like the ones that were adults or like teenagers, and then they kind of get a connection, and then their parents marry. Like, I feel bad for those people. 'Cause
Like
it's
the bitch from Teen Mom, her and her boyfriend.
It's just
the
like I
OG
feel bad because like what you gonna do at that point? It's like you're my sibling now, but that's not really how. It's just I pity those.
One of my
ones.
cousins
Unlike
got
other
married. My cousin got married to a guy, and then her aunt and his dad got married. So like they're step cousins,
Mhm.
and they're married, but they were married before the parents were. So
Excuse me.
Not me
wait.
being like super judgmental, but I do have a story that's based on like
Hi, Shay.
perceived incest, and then I have one that's kind of like, what are you doing,
Go for
step
it.
bro?
What are you doing, step bro? I will
That's
forgive.
stepmom.
I will forgive step siblings depending on the circumstances because like there's some things that like are required for a sibling bond that step siblings just may or may not have.
Sex is not one of them.
That's not what I was talking
In
about.
my defense, in my story, it is, well, does that make it worse? It's a stepmom, but in my defense, she was a child bride, so
Hold on.
that makes it better, I guess.
Oh, here,
I
go
don't
tell daddy.
somehow it
and
makes it
daddy will deal
worse.
with that. Sorry,
Like, she was
I
a-
missed something.
she was a child bride, and she fell in love with the child of her husband.
Yes, basically.
All right.
It's more
So
complex
she-
than that. a
So
little
she and the kid are she and her stepson are in the same age bracket.
bit. Stepdaughter, yes.
She and the stepdaughter are in the same age bracket. I'm sorry, I thought somebody said son.
It was probably me because I am straight, and I just assume
Okay,
I have straight problems.
but
Using your heteronormative assumptions.
It
I'm
really is,
pan,
and it's
so I
it's
just
a hard habit to break.
Okay, so that would have to be an execution for me because like that's one of those things where there are some things that I will forgive depending on execution.
Well, knowing Devisha, it will not be executed at all because she never writes anything. So
Thank you. I'm so glad you acknowledged that fact.
Oh
Oh,
God.
I'm so happy someone knows me so deeply.
Sorry,
was
that was
the-
low-hanging fruit.
That was the burned of all burns.
It hung
That was
just the right. It was hung enough.
I'm a tall boy. It's fine.
Oh my god.
We just have to stream together more before I can start shading you accurately.
Oh my god. On that note.
On that note, let me tell of my child.
Hold on.
That was perfectly
I was gonna
timed.
say on that note, we should end the stream so those of us who need to go to sleep can go to sleep, and those of us who need to go watch The Witcher can go watch The Witcher. But there's some weird shit going on at Sam's house, and I don't know if she's okay.
Save my husband from my son. That's all.
I don't think it's weird shit. It's just parenting.
One
I
of our kids likes to push. They're in a boundary pushing stage, and for some reason, this includes throwing toys at Chris occasionally.
Wow.
So yeah, it's for the
That's
record.
just a child developmental stages.
Yeah, it's a normal kid thing, but it's not one that we like allow or forgive. It's just sometimes kids do things that you got to deal with.
So, Merry Christmas, everybody. Hope
Happy
you had a
non-denominational
wonderful
day.
day. Happy non-denominational Jaw Day. And I'm gonna hit this button. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.